This is supposedly what district attorneys are trying to slowly like get to, and they're talking about it like it's a no call list, meaning that they're not going to enforce. Uh, I, I don't know
Still
how
a
it sounds
blacklist.
a little hyperbolic, right? But the idea is they're not going to even take any cases that basically have certain names on this
Yeah,
list.
yeah. So the Brady list is already being enforced by prosecutors. So
Right.
it's not being used by law enforcement agencies, but it is being used by prosecutors, because one of the ways you get onto the Brady list is if you've ever lied in court before. And so the officers who have found to have lied in court before get put on this list, and the prosecutors are using them and doing like no prosecution and no testimony from these cops. They're barred from testifying against people, because their word would undermine the case and cause a potential mistrial or appeal.
Well, then again, that all
I would just
falls under the
expand that
jurisdiction of the court.
to hiring.
That's the court. That falls under
Hey,
the
Tiff.
jurisdiction of the court.
What he said.
Well, prosecutors can do whatever they want, right? So can local sheriff's agencies and police departments. They can set their own standards. So we
Yeah, they
wouldn't
have
even
state
need a congressional law or a federal standard if police departments just decided to stop hiring murderers, drug dealers, and thieves. I just don't think that's going to be a thing. So I'm for enforcing it with legislation. There should be federal standards for police officers, and it should be enforced at the hiring level. And that would just be one of the reforms that I would propose to increase accountability. The beautiful thing about having a police state which is so entirely corrupt and ridiculously retarded is that there's so many available avenues for reform, right? Like you could throw a rock and hit a viable avenue of improvement. That's one of the benefits of it being so bad, is there's just so many things we can do to make it better. We just have to want to. I think most people support the police the way that they are. Most Americans endorse corruption. They believe in corruption. It's kind of like a side effect of the overall imperial attitude. And since most people never interact with the police in their lifetime, they think of it as a problem. That's that guy's problem, or that only black people or minority or thugs and criminals have to deal with that. That's never going to be my problem. The back to blue until it happens to you type of mentality.
That's
Keep going. I love hearing this. I hear it all the time. Just keep going. Go ahead.
I'm just it doesn't make sense to me why this list hasn't been used across the board, and why only the prosecutors are using it, as Dennison just said. This should be something that
makes sense to me.
It's there's corrupt cops out there, Ryan. You've had dealings with law enforcement all your life. You know about it. I've heard the story. I can understand, where you're at with this, but truly and honestly, how many cops, maybe not in your area, but how many cops have been kicked from force to force or place to place because of their bad situations? I had an officer when I was in a situation one time, and on the ground, not resisting, hands above my head. Officer want to sit there and say, you want me to spray you with this mace? of course, I was saying a lot of obscenities to him and calling him this, calling him that, slurs and all that.
Mhm.
And at this point, he just sprayed the bottle at my face. And I said, if you effing feel like it. And he opened the bottle and sprayed it. Well, this law officer ended up losing his badge because of this situation. I didn't pursue the police department. All I wanted is his badge. I ended up getting his badge. Next thing you know, he goes to the next county over. A few years later, he does something else corrupt there, loses his job. So
there's no way to know because we don't have any national registration, which is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
But in your example, Florida, Yale Law did a study there, and they found that in any given year, in any given month out of any given year, an average of around 1,000 police officers were working in Florida that had been fired from a previous law enforcement job.
Yeah.
And almost all of them had been specifically fired for misconduct.
Yes.
And we know even when they weren't fired for misconduct, there's a good chance that they were guilty of misconduct, right? And it was swept under the rug, statistically speaking.
So then hold on. Witty and Ryan and y'all all have said that basically this is true. A Brady list only stops them from testifying, not policing. So why don't we have a list for these officers? Why don't we have?
It doesn't even stop them from testifying, right? Like the prosecutors still have to use it.
But if this list only stops them from testifying, why don't we have a list to stop them from policing? That's the subject. That's the problem. I understand the problem and the issue.
Because
go ahead.
Because there's no incentives to have the type of people we need in police departments to be police officers. It only incentivizes the kind of people that we have, and the entire system is built around it.
I think you said it best earlier. If we had this accountability with a list that put these officers on a blacklist where they can't get a job policing anymore, the justification of brutality that police could then use would be unlimited. Because these officers
right, but
good officers, and they're doing their job to the T. So they're not ones that are lying, stealing, murdering, drug dealing, anything like that. These cops actually obey the law. They're good officers, and now you don't have near as much corruption in law enforcement.
These people don't even believe in the law. That's not even their motivation. These are people who were bullied as children.
That's what I'm saying, Dennis. I'm saying that right there. These officers need to be held accountable so that way they can't jump ship from one police department to another, or one, the city to the county, or state to state.
But they want those cops. If you take those cops away from you, you're gonna fuck up the whole system.
No, not necessarily. Like you said, they can then justify the amount of force they have to use. Because these aren't corrupt.
But they don't.
Cops.
They are. That's the thing. Cops don't want to enforce the law. They don't give a fuck about the law or justice.
I've heard stories. Ryan is giving me stories. I've heard stories from Josh and other people who are police officers, and I've heard their stories out here. And it seems like some of these officers are really good at obeying the law. They're not all corrupt.
No, never met one in my life. Most of them don't even know the law.
Listen, the state troopers in Florida, you best respect them. I'm gonna tell you flat out 100%. About the only
but that's got nothing to do with the law. You're proving my point. There's only one law on the street that matters. There's only one law on the street that matters. It's contempt of cop.
Yeah, I do want to point out I am not a law enforcement officer.
Right.
I am
Yeah.
federal, right? I don't enforce laws. There's not many laws out here that could be enforced, right? It's policy
Okay.
enforcement is what we do. It's a very big difference, right? But it's international, right? Different type of Fed, right? When you're talking about law enforcement, you're talking about an officer that enforces a very specific set of guidelines. In this case, you call it laws, right? Whether it's a city laws, which also include ordinances, or whether it's a county, or whether it's state, right? Or whether it could be like federal law, right? No, the answer is they're not really obligated to know the law, right? They're not obligated to be lawyers. They're obligated only to know what they can, like what's a violation and what they can detain you and run you through the system for. That's really what they're
And they're
obligated
trained
to
in
do.
properly on that.
Right.
Because the training is all about how to obfuscate your rights, and it's often wrong and clear violation of rights.
Yeah, which is fair, right? This is why I said I think it's fair the conversation takes place. I don't know how to like solve any of this shit. I agree with the nationalized database, right? But I'm also an authoritarian, so I wouldn't oppose that. But that's not. I don't know if it'll solve the problem, right? But I don't see any reason why it wouldn't.
Depends what you mean by solve the problem.
Well, yeah,
I can give you a myriad of things that we can do, which will dramatically change the police problem that we have in the United States. Is it going to cure and make a perfect world? Of course not.
Yeah, I don't oppose the idea of a nationalized database. I don't know, maybe it'll work, right? Maybe. I don't see why it would be a waste, right? Probably might not agree with the spending on it, right? But that's more about government spending. Hell, that is a whole different argument. I just don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. I also don't know what standards would be that's a thing that's up for debate. Y'all have that.
Here's the beauty.
Yeah, but I do.
We get to sell all that cool military equipment that they've been getting, and cut their military equipment budgets out, and use all that money for reform. So,
well, to be fair, I want my branch cut before we start cutting military. Right? Like I believe the State Department should get cut before the military. But this is just my own preference.
Not the military. The military budget that police have, and the military equipment that police have. Police don't need MRAPs.
Oh, come on. I like it when police departments have bear cats, right? Yeah, I like it. But that's just me. Again, I'm kind of an authoritarian.
Well, we're going to sell their bear cats and use it for reform.
But in all honesty and fairness, I do believe that the conversation itself does have a place. Like it's Dennison's claim is actually a very valid claim. I just don't know how to contend with it. Right. So what requirements? Officers being terminated on what grounds? Right. Lying under oath. I kind of fucking think that's a big problem. Right. At least that's a standard that I don't think I don't think I want officers that lie under oath. Lying to civilians is one thing. I'm okay with that, right? But lying under oath, that's a big one to me. I believe that should be
lying to civilians is part of their job. And technicality, they're able to lie, and it's in the law that says that they're able to lie.
No.
Yes and no.
To lie to a civilian,
bro. The way they word their shit, it's the manipulation of words they use to be able to say what they say. They can tell you things and mislead you.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. An officer can lie to you as a civilian, right? What an officer cannot do is lie under oath, right? When they've been sworn in as a witness within a court, right? They're not allowed to lie there, right? However, it's the case that you do run into cases where officers do lie. I think it's it's a hard thing to prove, right? But every once in a while,
they almost always lie.
Right. So when that happens,
and I don't think they should be able to.
Right.
I think it's one thing in an interrogation. It's one thing if they're in an undercover situation. But when just they're randomly pulling people over or stopping them on the street or investigating a trespassing or a crime or I don't think they should be able to lie. I think it should be illegal for police to lie.
What I'm saying is that's one standard you could apply to a nationalized Brady list. That would be one thing, right? Like, see, I would agree to that one for sure, right? You could just sit down and have the discussion and go right down the long list, right? But the discussion itself, I think, is fair.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem fair. I agree with all points here. Each one of you have come up with a good portion of it and a better understanding for me to understand what, of the concept that we're talking here. So
I want this put on record. I'm dead set against Dennison's position. However, right, like at the end of the day,
what position is that?
Well, I'm authoritarian. I believe all cops should basically put their boots on people's necks. However, we don't live in my perfect world, right? What I consider to it. So while we live in whatever this fucking world is, it's fair, right? Like it's a fair concept that if citizens say, hey, like we don't want this thing, right? We don't like the idea that, like an example, officers lie under oath, right? Still allowed to keep their job, right? They don't, even if they do get terminated, right? They can pick up a job somewhere else. To me, that's the idea of you lie under oath. That's a crime. That's perjury, right? And officers can get away with that, right? I don't even understand why qualified immunity would even apply to such a thing, right? But it's these like cracks, right? You could seal these cracks up with this system that's being presented. And so that's what I'm saying. Dennison has a fair point here. While I absolutely hate his position, he ain't fucking wrong. So
I don't see how that works. Like, if the cops come into your house, shoot your dog, slap your wife around and arrest you illegally, you're okay with that?
No, right? Like, but that's the thing, right?
Hold on.
When it's done to everybody else, I'm not okay when it's done to me. I'm just being honest here.
Hey, pause real quick. Dennison, you just actually made a point that actually happened here just right at the Knicks game when they were winning. I guess somewhere's in California or San Antonio or somewhere's in Texas or somewhere's over there on the west side of the United States. A lady was cheering into her apartment and yelling so loud that one of the neighbors called, okay? Well, when the police got to the door, the dog jumped out because everybody inside is excited about the game. They're like yelling and screaming and having fun in there. The dog's super excited. So it started to lunge at the officer, and the officer shot the poor dog. Bro, they fired his ass. But the thing is, he can get a job somewhere else.
He can go get a job somewhere else, yep. And he almost certainly will. What do you think he's going to do? Go get a real job? He can't. He's a dog murderer. Only place in Ohio dog murderers is the military and the police.
This is why a list, I think, is very important across the federal, United States, however you want to put it, that all these jurisdictions, all these law enforcement places should be able to upload their information. And like I said, the simple AI stuff that we have today and is somewhat intelligent I am to be able to do the stuff I do as far as my thumbnails and stuff. They got way smarter people than me out there that they can gather or create some kind of AI platform that all the officers have to do is upload these informations or these places, and it can be done in an hour, less than or less. So I don't understand why we don't have a registry for these police officers. I don't understand why we allow these officers to go place to place. It makes no sense. Right now, we have an officer who may be in question whether his safety was an issue or a problem that he had to fire into a car with a baby in it. This is what
the parking lot footage doesn't look good.
Yep. In a Walmart parking lot.
And I think there's a reason why they're not going to release the footage until after it's been investigated by the state, because it's going to cause a shitstorm when it's released.
And it is, because I am the way, just like Dennison, like I said, we played a little bit of the video of her statement. Thanks to y'all, Josh and you. You guys both offered a lot of information, putting in the back chat, which is great and easy for me to pull up. I don't know how amazing it was. Anyway, the young lady was telling her side of the story. And if the story is what she said, she was sitting in the passenger seat. Her friend put it in reverse. The officers then were coming from the right-hand corner of the vehicle, which they would have either been in the parking lot or in the middle of the street. I don't see that, because if that would have been the case, the officer was now shooting towards Walmart. I don't know what's going on here. The truth will come out when all the evidence is released, or more talks about it. But my discussion is basically, these cops, do they need to be out on the streets? Do they need to be able to go somewhere else and get a job? I think that's the biggest question. I think we need a list. Continue, gentlemen. I just had to speak for a second.
Officers getting time off without pay when they are disrespectful, don't report police misbehavior. I think the consequences should be worse than that. That's like an unpaid vacation, essentially. And not reporting other police officers, that should be harshly punished. Because the biggest problem we have in policing, in my opinion, is the culture of corruption. It's that blue line bullshit where it's like, me covering your ass no matter what you do and vice versa is the most important part of the job. There's a lot of like military mentality that goes into that. It's how the United States gets young kids to kill people that have never done anything to them, because when you go into the military, you form a special kind of bond, fraternity with your fellow soldier, and you depend on him in ways that forms an instant bond that's very deep and hard to break, and it will inspire you to pull the trigger when you're in the middle of some strange country that has never done anything to you or your family. As soon as someone starts shooting at your battle buddy, those instincts are going to come out. And I think police use a lot of the same manipulation. Police departments use a lot of the same manipulation, right? Like, first of all, they dramatically overstate the danger of the job. It's not that dangerous at all to be a police officer. It's more dangerous to be a gardener in the United States than it is to be a police officer in most places in the United States. Obviously, there's exceptions to that where crime is extremely bad, but that's not the majority of what we're talking about when we're talking about policing. And then even in those areas, it's not even a majority of the police. It's only a very select few that deal with the most dangerous of the dangerous in this country. And they lie. So they lie to each other about the danger involved and about the necessity, for someone to watch their back. And then that fraternity, right? They even call it a fraternal order, is what's used as a guise to cover up corruption, cover up misconduct, and eliminate accountability. And the values should be instilled in these organizations to do the exact opposite, which is to hold each other accountable, hold each other to a higher standard, kind of like what we do in our personal relationships, right? We always have our homies back. We're not going to diss our homie in front of the ops. We're not going to undermine our homie.
Hold up, Dan. Ryan, what's the deal with the personal attack? Now I'm really curious, right? Because he's not sitting here
really
bashing on cops like they're personal assholes, right? Why?
Yeah, I'm almost done though. Yeah, just one more sentence, I think, maybe two. It's like when we in our personal relationships, we have each other's back. We don't want to undermine the homie. We don't insult him in front of the ops, But when we're alone, we check the homie. We're like, "Yo, you shouldn't have did that shit. Hey, that's not going to help you out. I don't appreciate when you talk to me that way, when you treat me that way, etc." We hold like each other to these higher standards, professionally and personally, and the cops do the exact opposite. And I think when you have a badge, that part of that culture, part of the accountability should be built into the culture, where it's like a higher standard than the average person, like how the Marines do, right? It should be the few and the proud. Police should be like, hey, because we're cops, we're better than civilians. We're gonna we're gonna uphold the law and follow the law even better. We're gonna hold ourselves to a higher standard. We're gonna be even more kind. We're going to be even more patient. We're going to follow the rules even better than anybody else follows the rules. And that's why we have this badge. And that's why we're badass motherfuckers. And that I don't think that's how it is.
But it's not like that with every officer, no. And I call that the police badge syndrome, because once you get that authority in your hands, you feel like you're almost invincible. For a lot of these young officers, a lot of these seasoned officers are baked in that way. So my thing is, we can't go too far off the subject, because I like everything's been going pretty great. Keeping on subject, transitioning slowly to more and more. The magnificent talk about this is really neat, because I'm seeing 3 different sides of this, and let's not try to get our feelings into this, please. This is more of a great discussion, and I think all sides here are giving equal good points. So yeah, man, this is fun and this is neat. I wasn't expecting to go this far this late tonight. I wasn't really expecting to be here till 8:30. I was going to stop at 7:30, but the conversation has actually been very interesting. We started off with a woman and a man who left their 6-month-old baby on the beach. The whole show is about negligence, okay? What accountability is for certain people and things like that. This lady left, and her husband left the baby on the beach, walked away. Boom. This happened back in October, November last year, and there's still no quite an update. All we've got today was that what was it? It was that they have been charged. They got community service, fine of $1,200, and bond, and no actions, and they were banned from Walton County, Florida. So that went into, they walked away for an hour, came back, police were there, left the baby on the beach. Then we were started to talk about the comparison to the case right now, which is the Walmart shooting, cop involved shooting, which is very questionable as far as I see. And I'm gonna look at this from a logical standard. The logics tell me that we do have to wait for the evidence. But if the shooting was in occurrence the way the young lady said, and from what I've seen from the vehicle, could make a lot of sense that this is a questionable or needs to be questioned case. Biggest thing is here, how do we hold cops accountable? How do we put them on the list so that way they can't jump from one city to another? I think Dennison made a great point earlier, and I like the word he phrased it as, if there wasn't bad cops, the amount of force then would be most likely justified if they had to go to courts with these cops not thinking about emotions, feelings, and acting more on impulse as far as, the correct way to do this. And, the biggest thing for a police officer to do is de-escalate. On scene, they are taught they should de-escalate. And a lot of these things I see, these officers are escalating a lot of the situations. And then it comes into situations where you have this. I've seen in the last 6 months, officers get fired for drug use, officers get fired for sexual misconduct, officers get fired for placing evidence on, people, been fired for unaliving people. Where do we draw the line on where these officers can go and what they can do? That's my biggest question. Can we start something? Who do we got to go to start this in process? We got enough people out here in the world. and especially here on YouTube, they say we can't make a difference, but if we want something done, do it the right way. I'll start the shit. I don't care. I would like to see a national registry of better than the Brady list. Evidently, the Brady list is only keeps them from being able to testify in court because of their misconduct, which is, to me, is good for the prosecution, but it's not good for the citizens. So I don't know. I think a lot of cops need to be held accountable. I think there's a lot of good cops.
I guess
and
it depends.
I'm gonna end it with this and say this has been one hell of a discussion, y'all. I like it.
Yeah.
Continue on, gentlemen.
Well, it's kind of too vague, right? That unfortunately, that's the problem, right? So, like, take this case with the Walmart lady the Walmart baby getting shot, right? So, like, I guess the claim, and again, I don't, I keep looking for information, right? It always learn something different, right? But it boils down to whether the officer should. Legally, the officer could do something, right? Like if that vehicle was coming at him in any kind of way, that's grounds, period, right? But the question
No,
is,
not necessarily. Hold up. That's if the vehicle is coming directly at him. We don't, like I said, hold on, Josh. We got to understand this is still open. From the time that we understand should reverse back to pull forward, it looks like the officers were on the right side of the vehicle from the trajectory of
one of the officers could have been, another one could have been in front, another one could have been in the
hold
back,
up.
right?
The officer in question that did the shooting already said he was in danger. It was that officer who struck and shot into the vehicle was the one that is saying he was in danger for his life.
Right. And usually that's in the case if the vehicle is in motion in any direction, meaning it doesn't have to be directly, it could just be vaguely, let's say 15, 30 degrees off. If it's coming in your direction, generally speaking, this is, and again, a generalization since we don't have any details to work with, an officer can open fire on a driver, right? Now, if there's other people in the car, right, so fucking what? Hate to say it, but that is just how it is. However, that's the moral claim that comes down to it is people are wanting to say, if it's the case that there's a passenger in the vehicle, that has to be taken into account for self-preservation. Because at the end of the day, the argument boils down to if the officer obligated in some moral framework to take into account the other people that are in the vehicle, right? That I think actually falls on the driver. It's a moral claim. I just don't know really how to contend with it. But it boils down to if the driver's doing something that poses a threat, right? Can that threat, can the result, can an officer get away with causing harm to, or potentially causing harm to passengers in the vehicle? It's this weird line that we've come into where we keep saying that the officer has to, right? But at the end of the day, try to put yourself in the same situation. If a vehicle is coming, if a bus, literally just one adult driver and 100 vehicles in a bus, or 100 kids in a bus, and that bus driver is coming in your direction, are you morally obligated to not pull the trigger, right? Like, is your life, you're basically making the argument that somebody's life is more valuable than another one. That one, if
the vehicle is the threat, it almost never makes any sense whatsoever to shoot the driver.
Well, what do? Shoot at the vehicle?
No, why shoot at the vehicle?
You get out of the way.
Yeah, because
it takes less time to get out of the way. Aiming your weapon and shooting is keeping you in danger. You shoot at the driver when you work at a military checkpoint and you have to stop the vehicle from moving forward. Otherwise, it could blow up your military base or kill like a whole checkpoint full of soldiers. You don't do it when it's you versus a car.
Go back a step. Does that not set a horrible status or a horrible status within society? Because this is assuming
absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
So if a person is driving down the road, right, with any reckless intention toward people, right, we've already set the precedence that if they're going to be reckless toward officers, whether it's directly or indirectly, right? And they're going down the street posing a problem. Is that officer now in any type of responsibility for whatever damage that vehicle does when it's going down the road?
Well, did he
No.
already shoot? Did he shoot the driver at this point or no?
Well, no. So I'm adopting Dennison's position of like, right, you just let the vehicle
No,
go.
we're assuming that you let the vehicle go. You get out of the way.
Right. So if the
That's
vehicle,
how you protect yourself.
well, yeah,
You
yeah,
shoot the driver, you're
not a
putting
question.
yourself in more harm.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree.
okay.
This is why.
Okay,
Not
so
only are
if a
you putting
person-
yourself, hold up. Not
Hold
only are
up,
you
'cause
putting
I-
yourself in more harm, you're also putting the public at harm. Because what if this person that you just shot and driving now foot goes heavy on the gas and they run into the Walmart doors and run over people while this case happens, while the shooting happens? So I think Dennison is correct as far as what I agree with him on that. You move out the way. You got enough information on the cameras nowadays. You got their tags, and you can also get in your car and start a pursuit. Not a fast pursuit, but at least follow them to see where they're going.
Wouldn't
Get
that-
their tag number and information.
Wouldn't that pursuit be more dangerous outside of a parking lot and onto the
Depends
streets?
on how the officer takes it. If the officer takes it in full force right behind him, hauling ass and scaring the out of the people, yeah, they're going to take off, go with them. But if the cop gets in the car, starts following them in a distance to see where they're going without a heavy chase, they can reduce the amount of action that's happening. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you
I
shoot,
think it's just a kick. Well, I think it's just
shoot somebody at this point, driver loses control. The citizens are now at danger. Not only the citizens, you could also, as the officer, be ran over by this vehicle that is now out of control. If that makes sense.
It's going to be a rare circumstance in which firing at a vehicle in order to incapacitate the driver will increase public safety. It's not that it could never happen, but it's going to be rare. And we have the standard flipped on its head right now, which is if person in car and car turned on, cop can unload fucking pistol. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I would agree that's the current status. If you're even from my position, you aim a vehicle at me, even if for us, right? Even if you just gun the motor, yeah, that's pretty much grounds for us to mag dump you, right? However, right, I guess I'm looking at this from the argument is if you let this person go, right? They've already, I guess, in this case, right, the lady just rammed some car, right? Apparently getting away, right? You let this shit go and she gets on the road, right? You're in a parking lot. Presumably, there's not as many people on in a parking lot. It's a parking lot. Those vehicles are generally not occupied, right? But you let them go. They're on the street, right? Are they more of a threat to society?
Depends how you pursue. Depends on how you pursue.
Not if you, exactly. Not if you don't chase them.
This puts the responsibility back onto the people are just going to act right, which I don't believe is ever the case.
No.
Because if they were already acting right.
No, it puts the responsibility on police acting right.
Investigations
and people doing exactly what you expect them to do. Which is if you chase them down and hunt them, they act more erratically and more dangerously.
Dennison, let's just go with the assumption that the investigation starts at the scene of the crime. Correct? Yes or no? That's it. Okay.
Usually, yes.
Okay. So if you have enough cameras,
or when the call comes in,
this is Walmart. Okay. Walmart has enough surveillance, has enough room, has enough area that a lot of people can then get hurt if situations go bad. So why, if you're being called,
we're conceding all of these details, right? We're basically stating that we want to change, or I'm taking Dennison's position, right? Trying to walk this down, right? It's not exactly a debate; it's more of a conversation. I'm taking Dennison's position and saying, right? Yeah, you could have eventually got down the road, caught this suspect someplace else, right? But you're letting this person go from this situation right here in the parking lot, right? Where the officer's no longer in the threat. Who becomes the threat next?
The community does. If officers give chase in a way that these people are going to be driving erratic, let them go. This is what I think. Let them go. It's
Sure.
such a petty crime that you can pull the information up as far as the license plate tag, the type of vehicle, and the people that were in Walmart. You have enough information to go to their home and arrest them at this point. So
Sure,
why?
there's even
why-
more charges. Yeah, sure.
But why take the chase and create more of a community issue where now you have someone running through red lights, running through stop signs.
They don't give a shit about public safety.
They're already
trying to
they've already
escape from the
demonstrated that
police
they're not.
behind them.
Hold up. There's already been a demonstration that that there is no willful care for the people around them. AKA she struck another vehicle. And again, this is going by what she said. I don't know how true
Well,
it is. Right?
It's because the police are after her.
Right. So there's already
Hold on.
So
If you're in an accident in a parking lot where you reverse back and hit a vehicle and you run away, you're going to get what? Leaving the scene of a crime. How are they going to track you down? They are going to go back and view the cameras. They're going to get your tag and they're going to come to your house.
Sure. We're conceding this, right? You're going. The police are going to catch up eventually, right? We're conceding this point for the sake of the conversation, right?
Okay.
It's actually about, in this case, it's the concept of the threat, right? And in setting this dangerous precedence, right? In this case, it's this lady for the sake of, shoplifting, right? Whatever that was, right? We're just calling it shoplifting right now, because that's all we really know, right? Let's just pretend we're in the cops situation. We don't even know it's Pampers. We just know shoplifting, right? So the worst thing she did was fucking take some stuff from somebody, right? Then the next thing the officers are knowing is they're hitting a vehicle, right? Getting out of trying to get away from the cops, right? So now we're going to let this person go, right? Let them get on the street. That's not a danger. That's not considered a clear present danger to society there.
No. It depends. Yes and no. No.
Okay.
I'm gonna say yes and no. It's a clear danger to society.
What would happen if the cops never showed up?
They would have walked away.
They
would have drove off the lady would have got around the block and calmed down and got away.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm presuming.
Why would she even need to calm down? Let's say the cops never showed up.
Yeah, we're accepting the premise, right? We're accepting the premise I'm accepting the premise that you're saying that she gets on the road, right? She thinks she's free and clear to go, right? She's gonna get to wherever.
Yes, she got away with stealing the Pampers. She walks out. Nobody confronts her. Nobody accosts her. Just gets away with stealing some fucking diapers. Gets in her fucking car and leaves.
Right. So now, cops show up at the door. Is she gonna barricade herself?
Probably not. And why would they show up at the door?
Why
not just wait for? Why not just wait for her around the corner from her house?
I'm conceded your points, right? I just want to walk this down. That's what I'm saying. If it's the case that she was willing to ram, basically, and I am saying this is accidental, ram another car, right, to get away from cops, right? Why wouldn't she also barricade herself into a house?
Because that's not the same thing as just driving away from a scene.
Right.
It's a very, very different thing. And why would you confront somebody at their house? That's dumb. That's bad policing. I would want to.
Where else?
Wait around. I'll give you an excellent fucking example. An excellent example. Watch her patterns to see where she goes on a regular basis, and then just wait and pull her over in a traffic stop.
Okay. So for
but now you have someone in the vehicle.
Wait.
Go ahead.
I'm assuming that this is. I'm claiming that what Pampers is like $20, right? So in place of replacing $20, right, we're now going to spend extra money, right? Cops have to investigate, right? Now they have to follow a suspect around, right? And I guess apparently find her patterns, right? All for the sake of $20 fucking Pampers.
All for the sake of not shooting a fucking gun in a public area and causing someone to drive off into traffic erratically. All for the sake of public safety, which is supposed to be your fucking job.
And hold on,
It's supposed to be your fucking job.
Hold up. Hey, to make part of the example, to talk about why I think it would have been better for the police to let her go is because of this. When she did get shot, and the driver was shot, and the baby was shot, they drove to the hospital. There was no reports of them speeding through any lights, crashing any vehicles, anything like that from what I've heard so far.
Yo, what's up, Shintai?
So with that said,
Shout out to John too.
Stopped the pursuit and they still made it to the hospital, but they found out where she was along the way by calling backup on the way. You got the police officers have so much resources to be able to triangulate and follow somebody to their home without causing a scene. I just think that police officers want to jump the gun. They're flashy with their lights.
Correct.
They
like to escalate
out any
they can't fucking wait. Most of their day is paperwork and sitting around doing nothing. They can't fucking wait until they can smash somebody's skull in, throw them on the ground, fuck them up, or shoot them. And these fucking dude.
I've seen videos where the police officers have also tried to stop another police officer from doing this kind of stuff you're talking about. So
and then what happens?
Let's be fair. So if we're going to accept the premise that officers just want to get into, I don't know, crazy ass police pursuits, everybody's GTA, all cops are GTA 5, right? Right. So we're putting the standard on cops. What about the criminals, right?
Criminals are going to be criminals.
Can't hold standards for criminals.
Right.
A criminal is already in violation of all standards.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't get to create standards for criminals, Josh. Correct.
Correct.
Now the question becomes whether or not you want to be policed by criminals or by people who have standards.
Exactly.
I personally think we should be policed by bullies. However, right, you're laying claim that the bullies have to have their hands tied and the criminals are allowed to recklessly do
No, I want to do away with the bullies.
I got it, right?
And then also your worldview doesn't map onto reality in a 1-to-1 scenario. In reality, when the cops chill the fuck out and don't get their dicks out, people die less and less violence happens and less fucked up shit happens. The cops almost always make every fucking situation worse.
Right. I don't disagree that if it's the case that cops, right, didn't chase people, right, there'd be like less accidents, things like that resulting in death. I don't disagree with that. I also believe that it should happen. I believe people should pay with their lives. I would just prefer it that the person that's initiating the problem pay with their life versus the bystander. However, in this case,
I don't think somebody should pay with their life for stealing diapers.
Sure, I think you should comply.
Yeah, what's up, hippie? Nudie,
here's the
what's up?
Lay down or get down. That's simple. And I
don't think you should pay for your life for stealing Pampers.
I don't think you should have that mentality as an officer. Being an officer and have that kind of mentality is why there's a lot of problems in the police departments. Right? These officers think that they can have judgment before on the street, before court.
So criminals would have, I guess the claim is that if officers weren't so bully tactic, criminals would have better, I guess, social welfare standards within society. They'd be
we all would.
Changing that up.
We'd all be safer.
I think society would be a little bit less having the issues that we're having. How many times do you watch a police chase that ends up with 30 cars destroyed, telephones dropped down, telephone poles dropped to the ground, people getting ran over? How many times have you seen these police chases end up worse than they would have been if they just didn't pursue the way they did?
Yo, what's up, upstate?
Hey, now, my old lady just walked in. Give me a couple minutes, all right?
All right. Now, I'm with you.
I tell her I said hi, buddy.
I'm with you, buddy. It doesn't make sense to me. They're allowed to run rampant on the streets as one of the world's most known associated gang style systems. I'm not calling them a gang, though a lot of us believe they are. It's a gang style system. Corruption, drugs, murders, abductions, imprisonments.
All I can say is it's not confusing anymore when you just admit to yourself that it's supposed to be that way. That in America, that's how we do shit. America is corrupt to the core. And these people aren't getting away with something they're not supposed to be doing. They're doing exactly the job they've been hired to do by the corporate interests that make excuses for them, control the presidents that enact the laws, lobby the congressmen who write the laws, and ultimately have control over who gets elected as a Supreme Court justice, which is how we hold police accountable in this country. This is business as usual, and the only difference between Josh and most Americans is that he says it out loud. He's not a pussy. That's the only. Most people think exactly the same way. They want to see their neighbor brutalized. And why? It's because of the very system that they live in. Because deep down in places they don't like to talk about at parties, they feel oppressed. They feel oppressed while they mock people who claim oppression exists. While they come on these panels and call themselves Trumpers or Republicans or conservative or support the police, and they make fun of people who claim oppression is even real, deep down, they feel oppressed. They feel bullied. They feel constricted and limited. And that's why, subconsciously, they justify the brutalization of others because it's already happening to them. And why should anybody else get away with not being brutalized or roughshod over or controlled or policed when it happens to me? And that's where they get their justification for it from. And violence begets violence. Corruption begets corruption. And you learn at a very young age in this country that it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. It's to the point where a man whose responsibility is, this is what he swore an oath to. He swore an oath to uphold the rights of citizens in his jurisdiction, to uphold and protect the rights of strangers in his society. And what does he do when I say that we should have a Brady list? He calls me a simp.
Yeah,
I'm an empathetic simp. Why? Because I said we should have a Brady list. That was the extent of the conversation at that point. He put that in the chat. This is a man who swore an oath to simp for fucking strangers, to put their lives before his own, to sacrifice his own safety in order to protect the fucking weak and the innocent. And that's how he talks in public, with his own fucking name on the statement too. Don't forget, he uses his real name, chest out and proud, when he makes fun of people for advocating for the rule of law, which is what it says on his fucking chest when he goes around doing his job. Wrap your head around that any other way than to understand where it's really coming from.
I guess you know Ryan yourself, right? You guys been on these YouTube streets longer than I have, so I'm just.
I'm well known in the 1A community, so all the cops around here know me and what I have to say.
Right. So, but do you know Ryan himself? Like, you guys have had talk back and forth. I'm just seeing where this is coming from because I
would not claim to know Ryan. Right. I can see some of the things he says in chat, but I know what cops are like.
Have you been up here?
I know of him.
Or anything or any of the?
Yeah, yes, no. Ryan, I think is subscribed to my channel actually.
Okay, so then you understand him or whatever. So then you know his stories and stuff. Okay, I just didn't want to speak on something that I didn't know or whatnot. So Ryan doesn't seem to be a bad dude, and some of the stories he's told me about being an officer, it's kind of made sense that he seemed to be a good officer when he was there. So I think he stands behind the factor that his type of reputation that he was able to uphold was one that we're talking about, a good one who didn't use corruption to use the law. You know, that's what I gained from Ryan as far as when
I seriously doubt it.
I mean,
I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if he thinks of himself that way. None of these people think they're the bad guy.
But I've had conversations with him, and from what I've heard, it doesn't seem like he's the type that is gun ho first and ready to slam you in the jail. He will follow the law, like Josh has told me as well. Josh has told
me. But what happened when I talked about it? What happened when I asked for a Brady list? What was his reaction?
It was a total.
What happened when I said that?
I expected it, so because I thought the conversation was
and
that's really good.
I would submit to you, that's the real Ryan. The real Ryan is the Ryan that comes out in the chat that isn't, the calm, collected, cool guy telling you about how he was a good cop. And if you crossed him on the street and committed the crime, the felony of contempt of cop, you would get that Ryan in the chat. Except now he's got a badge and a gun and can ruin your whole fucking day.
No, that's a good point. A good way to put it.
I can hear you guys. I'll be right back. I won't be able to mic up, but I'm going to be listening to you guys talk. I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Brother, be safe. Thank you. Dennis, you there? Or Josh, you there? Dennis just left. Wow, I'm loaded. Holy crap.
Whatever you think you want, right? And you're just going to lay in bed. I'll bring you food, bring you whatever you want.
Here's another one. Oh my God. Are you serious? Brother sent me another video that has to do with negligence with a child.
Yeah. Apologize.
Video shows woman stealing from dead people with toddler in tow. God. Oh, this is ridiculous, man. Why? And this is what the whole thing started about this today. This is the whole thing of why I was on this discussion. It's basically called negligence. You adults out here think that you guys can just go out here, do whatever you want, have and create life, and decide that you don't give two shits what happens to it. The video I played in the beginning was about a woman and a husband who left the damn kid on the beach for an hour. I'm still pissed about that. This happened last November. And you know what? They're still in their situation as far as having to deal with it. But they got away with it. Each one had to pay $1,200 plus their bond. And they got a slap on the hand. Go home, tend to your kids. Don't get in trouble again. You're banned from this county in Florida. And then we talked about the other one, the Walmart shooting. There's just a lot that goes on with negligence, people, especially when it comes to kids. Now I got another video I got to go over because I got to make sure it's okay for me to play up in here. And it's about a lady who's stealing from dead people with her dog taller and so. We talked about the police officers being negligent, possibly negligent, or whether he is going to. He really was scared for his life or in danger. I guess that's going to be the question with this case. I've learned a couple of new things since I last spoke like this a few minutes ago, like an hour ago or so. And these guys are pretty interesting as far as their take on things. I mean, to understand different people and how they think, I love this game. And you guys are great, man. Thank y'all for the show, man. It's been good, Dennison. I mean, you got great responses all the time, bro. You got great responses all the time. You're a smart person when it comes to quite a few things. I think you hold your arrogance up in a good way. And I understand it, bro. And here, as I gradually go into this YouTube realm and the stream realm, I think I'm gonna get to be my original self and be able to come out to be more like y'all are. But I'm trying to creep myself into this world. These discussions are good, and I think the topics have been great today. Once again, I would like everybody to like, share, and subscribe if you possibly can. We have Dennison X on the show. Go over to his. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't, if you're already there, please come to the Mexican Einstein. Like, share, and subscribe. We have a lot of topics, a lot of people, different frequencies, different vibes. It's great to have these discussions. It's amazing. Tonight we have 17 in the chat, and I appreciate that. It's probably one of my biggest, a couple of them been pretty high, but it's one that's been steady for a minute. Thank y'all very much. Interesting. I think, Dennison, the way you act, the way you portray yourself, I like that. It holds me to the way I think I want to hold myself out here on this realm. And I think being stern, like I've said, being on top of it, if I misquote something or say something, I'm not going to be afraid for somebody to correct me. But I am learning a lot from you guys. A lot from you guys. So Dennison, what else you got for us? What else you want to discuss? That was one hell of a topic. I change it because I feel like frustrations are getting up a little bit, and yeah, that's been great. I'm still mad. I'm gonna play this video now. Let me get back to my brother. Where was he at? These people are retarded on here sometimes. Okay, this one. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see what this has to play. But of course, people got to be ignorant. Bam. I'm getting a little bit faster and better with this, so love it. And with StreamYard, it's making it even better, easier, better to cope with. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
A woman was caught stealing from the dead with a toddler in tow. Precinct 5 says it happened at a cemetery in the Memorial area. That's where ABC 13's Luke Jones.
Jesus Christ. Let's see if anybody gets hurt on this one, how they catch the subject, and it's interesting to see how the outcome comes or what happened. But I am going to keep tails on the other story with the beach.
This live, Luke. This is pretty low down. Investigators are trying to identify that woman.
Yeah, right now they pretty much just have that surveillance video to go off, but they're hoping the woman's distinctive back tattoos draw some extra tips in from the public so they can identify her.
They talking about a tramp stamp. Oh, not. Who just popped up? Josh Dennison? Nobody? Okay, good. I'm trying to watch. For some reason, there's supposed to be a bloop that goes on, and I never catch it.
3 victims so far, and investigators say the suspect herself didn't come here alone.
A young girl in tow.
I'm back.
Investigators are calling the Crypt Crook strolls into the mausoleum at Memorial Oak Cemetery June 6th. The child seen wandering around as the suspect gets to work, opening up the glass cremation niches. She appears to use some sort of tool, then pries the glass open and helps herself to the treasure inside. The Precinct 5 Constable's office says jewelry, gold bars, and rings all turned up missing, and it's not the first time. They say a visitor first noticed something missing from a display case May 26th, more than a week before this video was taken. Now investigators are turning to the public for help identifying the mystery woman. Her back covered in tattoos.
I told you, I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it. And I knew she got a tramp stamp. Damn, hoochie. Oh my gosh. I mean, I love that they got a clear picture of the tattoos, though. You know, it just makes all of that sense. Let's continue on.
And at one point, she was seen holding a distinctive black and white purse.
And as always, you could call any tips into Crime Stoppers. The number 713-222-TIPS. It's still unclear how she was able to access that mausoleum to begin with. We stopped by earlier, tried testing the doors, but they were locked.
Well, duh. After she got caught, they locked them up. Dumbass. You're a great reporter, dude, by the way. That was really retarded logic. Okay, let's continue on to something else. Oh my gosh, that was too funny. That's all I got to say. This is what I'm talking about, people. This is what I'm talking about. Negligence, parent negligence, police negligence, people's negligence. Listen, if you're going to do the crime, you got to do the time. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. If you're going to be retarded, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that word, but I don't care right now. I'm not like using it as bashing, whatever it is. I'm just using it in the content. If you're going to be that dumb, I don't know. How many of you have actually taken your child to do a crime or while you were doing a crime? You got children out there? Anybody can answer me that? How many of you people would leave your child unattended in a public place? And let's start from 3 months up.
I wouldn't even leave my cat unattended.
I think a lot of people need to start thinking about accountability, Dennison. Accountability for your actions, accountability for your problems.
I think we could teach it in school. But again, these are incentives. The corporations don't want us to be accountable. They want us to show up to work at 7:59 a.m. and shut up and do what we're told. Accountability breeds character and responsibility, and those people don't make good employees, despite what you would think. Because most employees are exploited and misused. And the kind of person with integrity won't allow themselves to be used just as much as they won't allow someone else to be used, which would include your coworker sitting next to you. But even then, I think you would still end up with a majority of people being douchebags, and really attrition is well overdue. The Industrial Revolution flipped a bitch on evolution, and now survival of the fittest no longer applies.
I agree.
And I some of that goes into these situations with the cops too. See, for me, I don't give a fuck about that lady and her Pampers. I couldn't care less. She's a breeder, first of all, so I already have a limited amount of respect for her, potentially. Very few parents do a good job from where I sit. The ones who do, I admire, and I revere them, but they're few and far between. And here's an example of someone who is doing a terrible job, because even if she needed to steal the Pampers, she didn't need to bring the kid with her. And there's also easier way to steal Pampers than from a Walmart, you know? Lady, like, why don't you try a fucking convenience store? Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
we're already talking about someone who doesn't have their priorities straight because she has gas in her car, but she doesn't have Pampers. So, you know, like listen, no one's going to tell me how hard it is, but at the end of the day, I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. so that I could stand outside on the bus stop for 2 hours and then ride the bus for another 2 hours to get to work on time. So, I couldn't even afford the car, never mind the gas to put into it. And these people ruin my society. They're in front of me in line at the DMV. They're at the fucking, Chipotle, with their hands on the glass, breathing over the fucking, food. I don't have, I don't simp for them or have empathy for them like the pigs would have you believe. The reason why pigs need to be in control is because I want to be a free man in society. I go out of my way to produce no harm, right? So when I go out into society, I'm considerate, conscious of those around me. I go out of my way to be polite and respectful, and I don't call attention to myself or create a public nuisance or commit crimes. I rarely even break the law, even when I disagree with it. I tend to follow the law, even if I don't agree with it. But the police will still not hesitate to brutalize me, take away my rights, and put me in a cage because they didn't like the way that I looked at them, or because I didn't cross the street at the right point, or because I didn't have the right attitude when I got pulled over. So that's my problem with the pigs. Is I don't want to have my ass beat and put in a cage. But other than that, the herd needs to be thinned. The older I get, the more I realize, like, the universe is a very cold place. It certainly doesn't care about me. My life doesn't have any value. Why should I value the lives of thieves and murderers? If they end up offed by the police, it's really no skin off my back. The problem is that the cops are out of control and they're shooting people for no reason. Like, can't imagine what would possess someone to fire into a vehicle that's driving away from you when you don't know if there could be a kid inside. And that being said,
I think as she rose or put her hand at the baby in the air, I think at this point the officer knew there was a baby, could see into the vehicle. If he was even aiming at the driver to shoot the driver, he had to be able to see in this vehicle.
Or he fired aimlessly.
That's why I'm asking, is it a possibility that he could have not been in harm's way when he fired his pistol?
So, I'm all for removing warning labels. Doing away with lawsuits for stupid people. Like, there's way too many people breeding. That's essentially what it comes down to. And smart people are not breeding enough, and dumb people are breeding indiscriminately. And Idiocracy is a documentary at this point. And you know what? The police are a direct result of that, right? That's why no director, movie director, or screenwriter has depicted the police more accurately and more succinctly than Mike Judge depicted them in Idiocracy. Nowhere have they been more honestly and more succinctly represented than by the few minutes or seconds that they were portrayed in that movie. You want to know what the mentality of the police is? Just watch Idiocracy. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah. I don't know, Josh. I mean, damn, Dennison, Josh, dear Dennison. I keep on saying the wrong names today. I haven't smoked enough. I probably got to smoke another one. It's interesting, Dennison, because like I said, I'm with you on I probably a good chunk of your thoughts and the way you process things as far as that, and you make a lot of sense when it comes down to these things. I just don't know. It's my whole
I
entire
do
life.
want to caveat.
Go ahead.
I do want to caveat what I'm saying too with I wasn't born this way. This is a result of learning. What reality is really like, what the system is really about. If the system had values and virtue, and people actually took care of each other, and society worked, and it wasn't built on corruption and debt and lies and brutality and greed, I wouldn't be this way. I would be a statist, and I would dedicate my life to public service because nothing would make me happier. This I'm a product of my environment.
Yeah, I believe that right there. Product of your own environment. What?
The morals aren't what's fluid, Casper. The actions and prescriptions are what are fluid. The morals remain consistent. The morals are, me first. That doesn't change. See, if I live in a society where people actually take care of each other, then my cup runneth over, and I can give back to my community without being untrue to myself, without it being a detriment to myself, and without it undermining my values and morals. That's the misconception. And listen, I had to learn the fucking lesson the hard way, bro. I'm in my mid 40s. I tried to buck the system and be the good example well into my late 30s. Almost my entire life, I tried to be the example in a world I knew had no principles. It took it very recently that I decided to fucking stop punishing myself, with my own principles because it wasn't getting me anywhere. It just always meant I finished last. It always meant I was at the bottom. And it always meant that, the only one who suffered or paid any price for my morality and my principles was me.
Hey, at least you hold yourself accountable for those things, and you're able to say that because not a lot of people are able to judge themselves like that and understand themselves like that. You at least know what you're talking about. You stand on your business, and like I said, I like to pick your brain as far as conversations go, because you do bring one of the most interesting aspects as far as the way I like to think. I think you put it out verbally for me on most occasions, because me and you agree on a lot, and it's hard for me to find somebody that agrees on a lot of things that I agree with. There's some things we don't agree on, but that's common and normal to happen that way. A lot of the stuff that you talk about, the way you feel on these things, I've been wanting to say for a minute. I just can't. I'm not used to this shit out here. I'm not used to being comfortable with people watching me. Right now we got 18 watching us, and I'm not really comfortable with these type of things. But you, brother, you just let it flow, and it's natural. So thank you. I'm gonna pick up on some of this. I have been picking up on details from other channels and stuff that I've been watching, and this is great, bro. I mean, damn, I'm with you, bro. I'm lost in this.
I've been doing introspection in public my whole life.
Yeah.
Right, like this panel thing. I've been doing it since I was 10 years old, since before most people even were on the internet, and I put a lot of time and effort into introspection, and I barely scratched the surface. I literally made a completely life-changing discovery, alteration, shift less than a month ago. Not even the same person I was 28 days ago. Because I'm still learning and digging.
Lois, what was Anchor Casper? I'm lucky because I am in amongst atheist worlds an idiot, but even at my lowest, I still took those good lessons. Lowest being lacking that faith. I wonder what he means of that.
Hold on a second.
I don't
I'll
think
be right back.
Okay, I don't think people have very good morals these days. I think morals are lost with people. Also, Max, what was that? Never let voice quality go below this. Okay. And I was in and out today. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for stopping in. Nojung had a glimpse of reality, but certain a better view than most. I'm in dense Discord. Share it there. I was talking about me being Christian. Even if God didn't exist, I still follow Jesus. Okay. And I've heard that a lot recently. Somebody made it, put a statement out the other day, Angry Casper, that said something to the effect of, I'm religious, but I'm not Christian. You have to learn how to separate the two, is what the statement was made. I forget who said it. I think that was Ryan, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, but kind of hit true to what you just said, and I've been hearing that from a lot of people. They want to walk the Jesus path, but don't necessarily believe in a godly being out there. Hey,
Oh, he's saying.
I guess
He's saying that it's kind of an advantage to be Christian because those values are instilled within you. You don't have to learn the hard way, and they're always there for you, even in hard times and times of doubt. Is what I'm thinking. He's saying by that.
He said, I'm thinking about me being Christian. Even if God didn't exist, I'd still follow Jesus. And he goes, a lot of people are having issues with the Bible and whatever church their parents sent them to. And then we said Casper gave him, the salute with the crown. Angry Casper also said, and they all can feel it, but dare not to put a name on it. And then which he goes, even if half a Christian actually followed Jesus, most of our conversations would be moot. And yeah, I don't know how that started with a simple question. Okay. I'm lost. Okay. And Dennison, in a way, yes. Okay, so led back to your point, yes, Dennison. In a way, yes. Wow. Okay. And this is very interesting. I just don't go have kids. You can't control them. Don't go have kids. You can't watch them. Don't go have kids. You can't afford them. Shit, just keep your shit in your pants or zip that thing down so you don't have to worry about that. People, if you're not ready to be adults in this world and be accountable for your actions, there's something mentally wrong with you. Honestly. I think if a society started holding accountability for their own actions, the police started holding accountability for their own actions, I think we could see a different society of how people would act and react. I mean, there's always going to be a crime. We've seen it, from the past to now in movies, as well from the past to the future. Everything revolves around crime. I don't think there's a situation that doesn't. But I think if people start holding accountability for their actions, I think then things can be justified a little bit easier. I want to start a petition for make the list of the bad popos. The ones who get fired for misconduct. The ones who get fired for drug use. The ones who get fired for doing things that aren't their job. So let's push that one forward here. I'll come up with a quick name of it. I'll figure something out with it. Let's see if we can get that across. I think the Dennison would agree with me that if we could get that list out there across the nation, we would definitely have less corrupt police systems. Not saying they're going to be completely corrupt, uncorrupt, just less. It'll be easier to catch the corruptions. I don't think we need bulldogs and bullies and mental cases on police force. I think they turn into mental cases after a while from things they see from these situations. I mean, just believe what this officer now is thinking in his head. He has to suffer with the factor that he shot a baby, a child, and now has to live with it, whether he gets punished by the law or not. We have cops out here that do things that are immoral and go to bed every night scratching their balls and thinking they had a great day. You know, I think these officers need to be held accountable for the simple reason we want a just and lawful system that works. Police officers are meant to uphold the law, to protect and to serve, to de-escalate. I don't see de-escalation in chasing somebody down. I don't see de-escalation in unholstering your pistol and aiming it at an occupied car that could cause potential damage to you, citizens, and more vehicles or more property damage is just or in any kind of way correct. I do see that if the officer was in complete danger, then he has the right to protect himself or eliminate the danger. But if I'm able to jump out of the way of a car, it's whatever. I got out of the way. I had a dude one time. I was going down to the street to a laundromat. Me and my girlfriend at the time were riding down there. And this guy comes in front of me and cuts me off out of nowhere. Just third lane over, right in front of me. I blow the horn at him. I get into the parking lot. He comes into the parking lot. He threatens to kill me, shoot me, all this kind of stuff. Of course, I am protecting myself. And, you know, he gets out the vehicle, attempts to attack me. And I stand in front of the vehicle to try to get him to stay there while I'm on the phone with police. And he starts to edge forward. And you know what the officers told me when they came to the scene? You shouldn't have been in the way. You're not supposed to be in front of a moving vehicle. It's funny how they can tell us that's what we're supposed to do, but they don't. So on that note, I don't know. Help me advocate to put something better than the Brady list. Let's call it the you did it list. The X list. Poop patrol list. I don't know. But I think there's something that needs to be done across the nation to better the system of policing, by the way. You still there, Denison?
Yes, sir.
That's crazy, bro. It's okay, Max. I have never left my child unattended, even in my home. Normal. That's what we were saying earlier, and we were literally talking about that. I've never left my kids unattended. My kids are 25 years old. Never once have I ever left them unattended until they got like 16, 15 years old, where I can leave them by themselves at home, and me and the wife at the time could go do dinner or something like that. They were old enough to watch themselves and stuff. I've never left a kid, a minor, to me under the age of a teen, which is 12 and under, never left them home by themselves. They were always accounted for by an adult. When we went out to malls, beaches, locations, they were all there beside me. It was funny because a couple of years ago, maybe 8, 9 years ago, I started to see when, a lot of these people would now put their child on a leash so they didn't lose them in Walmart or at the malls and stuff like that. Nowadays, we're just leaving them on the beach to cook and bake. And you go away for an hour or two, and it's okay because it's the baby's nap time. Crazy shit, man. Crazy, crazy shit. That's all I got to say. You're dreaming of a government employee, don't even sign their names on documents. Just say department. They are dehumanizing citizens. Who's to say they ain't, defend? Who's to say they ain't? I mean, it's a possibility. I don't know, y'all. All I'm going to say is this has been a great stream. Witchy's coming in on the field to get more intake on this. Is this Witchy? Witchy, is that you? Yes, it is. Miss Witchy is coming in. Hey, you're my dear. How you doing?
So my experience as a parent dealing with other people's kids and with other parents has been that most parents, I have somewhat young children. One's high school, one's middle school now. And then I have adult children. With my adult children, I would go and participate in parent things, and all the parents were snorting Adderall in the bathrooms, drinking wine and vodka in their teacups. But now the parents are like not getting involved at all. Like at least those parents were there. They showed up to every game. They participated in the PTA. Well, now we don't have PTA anymore. We have what they call PAC, the Parent Action Committee, and like nobody shows up. So at least the parents of the my older kids' generation got involved. They were drinking. They were, somebody always had a flask at all of the games, and I'm not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating about these women crushing up their kids' Adderall and snorting it in the bathrooms, but they were at everything and they were completely involved. But now the parents I see, like they'll drop their kid off at my house and not even come to my door and shake my hand and know who the fuck I am.
Wow.
Like, and it trips me out. They'll be like, okay, the kids will come in and I'll be like, oh, your mom's not going to come in. No, she'll be back around 5. She'll text me when she's here. Because their cell phone is them raising their kid. Oh, I can just reach them on their cell phone. If there's anything wrong there, they have their cell phone. They can call for help. Like, so maybe they're kind of going back to that way we were raised, where they're not helicopter parents. They're not in every second of their kids'
I don't know. I don't know.
Better.
We had helicopter parents. They just weren't. They were stealth helicopters. Like our parents knew what we were doing.
I didn't have a
Apache.
helicopter.
Yeah, it's an
parents.
Apache
I
still
had
helicopter, man. It was different. Nowadays,
I didn't
they
have
police
helicopter
them.
parents. I had platoon parents. They had a whole platoon in the whole town. So they didn't have to be helicopter parents because if you fucked around, you found out with somebody
That's why
else's
I'm
dad.
saying
And
it
then
was a
he told
stealth.
your dad at the bar and you found out from your dad
Yeah.
too.
That's why I'm saying it was a stealth system. Everybody knew everybody. If you were doing wrong,
I don't know what I had.
I'm pretty sure that
I think I was the
across
parent
town,
at a certain point.
somebody knows you and knows your pops and mom, and they see you acting like this, and that shit gets back to them before you even get home. But could you say that I'm gonna put the government into this because I think it's part of the problem. Could you say that the government has now successfully dissolved the natural family, the concept of it, and now these kids are able to run wild, do the things they do, change their stories, change their worlds, and we're just supposed to accept this?
See, that's the thing most people don't get is that that's kind of what makes humans more evolved and advanced than other species is that we do just accept things and we change our game plan around them and we do change things, but first we have to accept them even to change them. Like if you haven't accepted the way it really is about something, you won't have the power to change it because you're trying to change the wrong thing. So we have to accept whatever the reality is that comes at us. The issue is choosing which things are worth changing. And most people focus on the things that immediately affect them. And if you keep people in a constant state of survival, the way our hierarchy in society is set up, the majority of people don't really have time to sit and think about these sort of things. Like, I get that you work. I'm Mexican Einstein, but a lot of the people out here, like having these kind of conversations in the public, don't. Or if they do, it's from home or part time. They don't. Most people are so hyper focused on getting that paycheck on time so they can pay their bills on time so that their kids can eat and they've got clothes to wear to school and whatnot, that they don't sit and think about what's really worth changing. The only things that matter when things change is their immediate survival needs.
So then, in essence, you're saying nothing's really going to change until something dramatically happens to them or in their family.
For individuals, for the most part, yes. Now, societally, we changed pretty well. I mean, if you compare to society now to 50 years ago, we're pretty good at moving with the tech, whether we like it or not. You just get a lot of bitching along the way.
Yeah. But now to the question that I asked, I think that I lost in my statement is, do you think the government has now successfully dissolved the family concept?
I think that the government planted the seeds and that society has definitely followed suit in devolving the family unit down to individualism. So like where I'm from, I don't know what you know about New Mexico, but where I'm from, if you go into the small towns, you'll find little mini villages in the town. And these little mini villages, there's Abuela's house in the middle, and then Tio Rodolfo built his house next to hers on the right, and Mateo built his on the left, and Angelica brought her husband and her kids and built a house, you know, 25 feet past that. And you have all these like houses built on one property. Even the property I live on now that we bought had been divided in half by two brothers after their parents passed. And then their kids ended up selling it. And so what you see here though is it used to be you would build up a home next to your family. And so you're raising kids and you both have to go do this, that. Well, abuela's there and tio's there and
Right.
tia's there. And then not only that, but the kids are taking care of abuela. Abuela can't get up to turn off the water on the stove for her tea, but the 7 years is old enough supervised to turn it off and help her so that she could get Epsom salt water to soak her feet and hot tea. And the kids watched over. They're not getting into the knives or watching pornography on the HBO. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and this was when I was a kid, so some of the modern tech did exist. Not all of it, granted, but some of we had computers and video games. But there was a limit on that because we had a family environment. Now, I wasn't even from the area originally. My mother's from the East Coast. Well, not East Coast, the Midwest. She's from Chicago. That's where she was from, rest her soul. And but we moved here and were adopted into the culture. And even then, in the 80s and 90s, there was still this intense, but then they started raising their kids to not speak their language because they wouldn't fit in at school. And then it was, well, you got to go to college, and if you want to go to a good college, you got to go away from your family. And then it was, oh, well, don't bring that knowledge back here. There's no job for you. Don't come create the industry here. Go somewhere else because you're going to get the better job. And now you see those houses, those family compounds being divided up, sold house by house, and there's people living 15 feet from each other in these family compounds, and they don't even know each other's names. Well, like
Sorry,
you people
I
in the
thought I was
city
on
too.
mute. I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting because you're talking about an evolution or a movement that has made the family itself not want to be around the town that they're in because of the lack of resources or job availabilities. So now instead of telling, like you said, them to come back, they tell them to stay away. In a way, I kind of did that with my kids. I really want my kids to be able to be gone, like visit the United States to start off with. If they find somewhere to live, that's fine. Go do that. But I don't know where we're going with this conversation on that. But yeah, it's weird because
well, that's what I mean is that society has fallen into the corporate trap of sending their kids off to work instead of working the family land and taking care of each other. And you're right.
Yeah,
It
you're
has
right.
completely
Okay,
undermined the family unit. And whereabouts do you live? You're in the US?
For me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, the FLA. We all day.
Okay.
Florida.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, coastal people trip me out. I don't know how people can live on the coast.
No, hold up. You gotta understand. I'm not a coastal person. Okay, I've only been a coastal person for the past 12, 13 years. So I live inland. I come from a place that was, 8,000-10,000 people. I think that's the max. Country, rednecks on one side, blacks got their own section, Mexicans live over here. The rest of the area, you just have to own the land to be able to live out there. So, I come from places where we work the fields, watermelons, bell peppers, oranges.
Yo, what up, Fatima?
Like that. What's up, homie? And so I kind of, the coastal thing, it's only been something new because I don't want to be in that lifestyle. Once again, as you said, it was opportunity for better work, better movement, better locations for me.
And, right, but you're a
we
city dweller now, right?
Huh?
You're a city dweller now, right?
Oh, why are you gonna say it like that?
Well, because
I live in the city doesn't mean
people
I'm
in the city in my
dweller.
mind, people in the city in my mind don't really live; they dwell. I watch them come out here and they ride their bicycles with their helmets and their pads and their water packs, and they come out here and
I'm doing 20 miles an hour on my bicycle, going down the road, no helmet, standing up, pistol on my side, no shirt, no pads, no shoes. I'm ready to I'm a country boy.
But no, I'm just saying they they have a certain way about them that they don't. It's almost like they're borrowing somebody else's intentions. Like they never seem to be. They're self-involved, but they're not introspective. Like they don't know their neighbors. Like when I lived in the city for the brief time that I did, I tried to get to know my neighbors and they were not interested in
Oh
that.
no, it's not like that around where I live. Like I know all my neighbors just about. I know like 3 of them live in the little building apartment thing that I'm in. I know 4 or 5 of the neighbors who live on the out part of the complex here, the part of the property. I know people that live down the street. No, it ain't like, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm a very social person outside of YouTube and stuff like that. So like I know all my neighbors just about. Yeah. I don't think I've ever lived in a location where I didn't.
See, and that's the thing is even with the family unit breaking up, if we could keep that kind of a society, like I know a lot of people move into the cities and they come from different backgrounds and stuff, but if each building could build community in a city, we'd still be closer to the way it was with a strong family unit because people would have the support they need. But I see all the time where people in the city will make the claim that they don't know their neighbors. I guess it's good if you do, and maybe you're not a dweller, maybe you're actually living a life and building a community, and that's great. But I see as the generic standard in the city to isolate and live in your own space and not step out of it.
Well, I think there's a slight misunderstanding. I think from what you're talking about city, and I think I'm a city. You're thinking more of like probably New York style, concrete jungle style city. I don't live in a town or in a city that's like that. My places are like there's still trees everywhere, grass everywhere. There's open lots of property that's out and about. Um, it's not like building on building where you got a whole bunch of tenants in one building or anything like that. That only happens
Then you're
like
not a city dweller. You live in a town.
well, it's
Rural.
not. It's completely a city. So
How
they're not.
how far is the next McDonald's?
Uh, 3 blocks down the road.
Sounds like a city.
There's a little mall right down the road. There's a Home Depot. There's a Publix, Steak and Shake. I got some Chinese restaurants right down the road. If I go that way, if I go north of here, I got one of the parks that's big. I have the convenience stores right next to me. There's a
Here,
right
let me change up what I said though.
Huh?
Let me caveat what I said. Let me back up a little bit. Is that
No.
the only McDonald's in your city?
No, there's like okay, there's that one 2 miles, 3 miles down the road. There's another one on one of the streets over. If you go from there north, there's one a mile and a half north from here. If I go east, there's one at the beach from that way. So yeah, there's like
So 4 so far.
oh, we got probably about 15, 20 McDonald's in this whole area.
That's a city. Sure.
That's a city.
But we're
Yeah,
not,
because
we're
like,
not, we're not like
there's a McDonald's like 2, well maybe might even be more than like 5 miles away from me, but it's the only one. And we don't have a
no.
Best Buy.
Like we have multiple steak and shakes here. We have multiple Panera Breads. We have multiple McDonald's, Burger Kings, Pizza Huts. All our city life ain't like most city life like what y'all think. Y'all thinking about like buildings where there's tenants that live all in this building. Next one, there's another tenant. or they could be living right by a whole set of stores or something. That everything's compiled on top of each other and up. Our cities aren't up here; they're more spread outwards. As far as what I can, it's 10 miles across. I think it's 10, 15 miles across the county, and most of the county is covered by the city, but it's spread out. If it makes any sense. Like
I mean,
we're
being a little bit spread out or being right on top of each other isn't the entire point. More to the point is what I was trying to say is that in the cities, if it was more people like you who are making friends with their neighbor and building community, the loss of that familial support might not make as much of a difference. But from what I understand from the people I've talked to who live in cities, and when I've lived in the city, most people don't know their neighbors and don't want to.
I guess a lot of people aren't like me either. I like to know everybody around me, just in case. Never know. One might be a psycho. One might be able to handle themselves with a pistol. One might be able to box and fight. I
One
want
might
those
be a
people around me.
sociopath like me. Crazy
I
witch,
want all the crazies
sociopath.
around me. They're the best to hang out with. I need to get some supper. Joe Cool.
Sounds like it.
Is this you, boss? Yes, sir. I'm bringing you up.
It's good, Pep.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm finna smoke me a blunt and saw a couple of my buddies over here.
You know, I'm an open story over here. I like to keep it as cordial with everybody as I can. Like I told everybody, I'm new to the streets, so I'm not trying to make enemies.
What'd you learn about the police today, man? I heard my man up here. He's the right guy. What'd you learn today, man?
Denison has already taught me, and with that, and with the understanding and backing of what Josh said, I learned basically that cops are all pieces of shit in totality. And then not what I've learned today. What I've learned today is that I can't trust the police to do their job if they're going to be corrupt.
Wait,
went over that.
I understand. You just making me happy, right? Last time I was here, you was like, man, you know, I guess y'all right, man. I learned all police suck, man. I was so happy. That makes me happy. And today,
I like to be a little bit optimistic, Joe Cool. I like to be a little bit optimistic with situations.
I do too, but not at the expense of realistic, though, right?
Yeah. But to each, everybody has a different experience with these types of situations. Okay. You have a total different experience with police than I have. Denison, total different experience with police than I have.
But we're not kids. We wouldn't go off of anecdotal our expense. To some extent, you can't help that. But it's 2026, man. Internet's everywhere. There's media everywhere. And then you got a million people you can talk to about it. You don't have to go off of your own shit. Well, I know a cop in my neighborhood. He was kind. That's immature.
Yep. Let's see who is in here. There's a Jewin in the back.
Something about Jews being backstage?
No, a Jewin. This is Jewin.
That's racist.
No, that's so funny because where I live, the city nearby, there's a road called Juan Tabo, and the GPS calls it Juan Tabo.
Juan, you talking?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm listening.
Good. All right, making sure. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I just got off work.
Good. You got off work?
Yeah, I've been listening. Yeah. Remember, I'm finishing up those Amazon contracts, and I'm out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Yeah, but what's the topic? I've been listening to y'all kind of on and off, on and off.
Well, I mean, like I said, you've seen most of the show this earlier. How negligence is really played in a lot of situations that are happening right now. I'm not going to speak too much on the Walmart police officer shooting as far as what I think needs to be done. But I am going to speak on some of it as we go on into the future days because it's going to be interesting on what comes out. What I've seen today is that the angle, the trajectory, the story that the young lady told, there could be a lot of.
Oh, I got a question for you. Let me throw some at you. Speaking of like negligence, and then with I guess the position that you're in, a police officer, if they shoot somebody for the hell of it, they get charges, they get reprimanded and all that. Now, do you think that should go down to the like child custody, like the people that are in charge of like doing welfare checks on kids that are placed?
Don't even get me on that one, bro.
If they don't do their job, and then something happens to the kids, like, do you think they should be penalized, like with like the full extent of the law?
They don't vet them people well enough to even
That's what I'm saying.
Talk about that subject. Because
that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think they should be punished?
Say what?
Do you think those people that are supposed to be doing their job that don't do their job to make sure that the kids are like placed in a safe place, like, and then something happens to those kids? Because we have a case in North Carolina where a child, I think she was 3 years old, she was placed in the care of, I think, uncles and aunts, and they ended up finding her little, her little body, and they didn't do their job. CPS didn't do their job.
Well, this is that's I think a total different subject. One, because that goes into the failure of CPS or child services of any kind towards the children. And yes, I do understand that, but it's hard to vet complete family members if they don't have any.
You have to be psychic to pull that shit off. Man.
Yeah, that's going to be a very difficult thing. Now, if you're talking about internally with the system, that is a subject that
I was only bringing that up because of the
Can you open the door for Ricky?
Here in North Carolina. It's like, I think it was reported that they had they had multiple red flags, yada 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 yada. Like a list goes on.
The states at fault at that time, I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, you think there should be some kind of it falls back on them, honestly.
Supposedly, they already have that. They already have a vetting system for making sure that a family member or something like that is okay with it. Because once CPS involved, they take names of everybody. They find out your family, who's involved in your family, why you're acting like this. They have you pinned down to the T, and they know what family members are right or wrong. So this goes back to negligence on the state at this point, and that's what you're saying, which is true. I think the state should be at fault at all times with this, but that's a more difficult subject to go into with negligence. Now you're talking about a system that's already broken. We've already lost I don't know how many kids this past year, the past couple years, by the thousands, not even just by hundreds.
So I was looking at some articles today because my sister, she's in the medical field, and she wants to be a midwife. And what's it called? The amount of foster kids that are lost daily.
Yeah.
And then also, I didn't know this one, but if you have a marriage license and you marry some girl that's under 18, or legally, you're also, they allow you to marry off your daughter or whoever you're in charge of that's under 18, and if anything happens, it's not great. It falls within the marriage law. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So I know we make fun of other religions and shit when they do it, but I didn't know that. My sister told me that it's one of those things that they look into when they have their patients and stuff, and I don't know why they have that stat line, but she said it happens way more often than you would
I'm
think.
not even sure I understand what you're saying. Are you saying what? Can you
Right,
recap it?
So I have a marriage license, right? And let's say I know you, and you have a girl that likes you, wants to marry you, yada yada, whatever the story may be. She's 16. I marry you, and if for some reason anybody says, "Hey, that girl's 16, he's raping her," well, no, it's not great because I married you, and that falls right under a marriage law where it's not considered rape.
Oh, no, I was not aware that you could even marry a 16-year-old. I guess so. But I didn't
All
know
you
you
have to do is have a marriage license.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Some states allow for that accountability, and some of them allow because of Romeo and Juliet laws as well. They account for some of that. So, but the Romeo and Juliet law only provides or applies to people under 21, I think it is.
And close in age.
Yeah. No. It can't be. It doesn't provide for someone who's 21, 25, 26, like that. If
As
they
I
were
said, they have to be close in age. I said.
Yeah.
The Romeo and Juliet, but if you have a marriage license and somebody marries you, it don't matter what age you're at.
Okay, when you saying a marriage license, I've never been married. I guess you just go and sign up to get a marriage license. Do you have to have a mate when you go get this license, or are you just walking around with it in your pocket?
I have no idea.
Because you're saying have a marriage license, not when you're married.
Preachers can marry people off. They have to have a marriage license in order to perform a marriage in the church. So this is something that one of the titles or certificates that
It's like those things that you see in Vegas, like when you go to like those like quick chapel things and they marry you. They have a marriage license.
All right. The reason I'm asking is I thought you get a license and you have to get the license, then you get married. So you can have a license technically and not be married, is what I was wondering.
No. He's saying a license to marry people.
But then, like, if you ever meet anybody, I can marry you.
That's what I was missing. You're the preacher or whatever. You can marry. Okay. All right.
And I can marry you. You can call me. Hey, I'm getting married. I got a 15-year-old girl that likes me. Bam, you're done.
Wow, that's crazy.
Don't say that, Epoxy, because it has to be in the state that allows it.
Georgia, Kentucky. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Now you go crossing state lines to do some illegal stuff that doesn't account in that.
That's crazy.
You got to be careful, Epoxy. Watch what you say. Just saying.
Yeah, man.
What about the kid shooting? Y'all said something about a baby shooting, and y'all was talking about that earlier when I was.
You haven't heard about the Walmart officer involved shooting?
Okay, Joe. There's a couple, and they're shoplifting at Walmart, and the police get called, so they run, and they've got a child with them, and the woman gets in the front seat with this infant in her lap, in the front seat, and they try to escape, and they decide to drive the car at a police officer who opens fire on the car. The infant is deceased.
Hold on. Once again, I'm gonna hold it on that note, and let me just correct a couple things.
Well, I know one you're gonna correct, but say it anyway.
Right. The problem here is that two females and a infant were at Walmart. The call was called in that they were shoplifting. They got into the vehicle as the police approached. The driver put the vehicle in reverse, hit the vehicle as pulling out, and then started to drive off. The young lady in the passenger side with the child held the child up in the air, and shots rang out from the passenger side, which crossed the path of the baby and also hit the driver in two places.
I'm sorry, are you a cop? Because you're a cop because you're telling me shots rang out from the passenger side. Are you telling me someone in the vehicle shot out?
Side of the outside of the vehicle. Hold on. Let me correct myself. So the two girls were driving off. The girl had the baby in the air. The officer was I'm come to assume, because the way the video and the vehicle looked, all shots came from the passenger side into the passenger side of the vehicle. Let me put it that way. So the officer was outside. As the girls pulled back, they hit the car, went to pull out and get away. The officer felt like he was in danger and fired into the car from the passenger side of the vehicle towards the driver's side.
Here, this is just, just from fucking my psychic powers from doing this so long. First thing Nikki says, woman tries to run into the cop. I'm not so sure that's ever a thing. And I forgot the second one you're saying was that the officer feared for his life. Not so sure that's a thing.
I'm with you on that, Joe. I've been saying that.
Joe, even if they were driving at him or he felt fear for his life, you do not fire into a moving vehicle. Like, you're not going to stop the threat of the vehicle coming at you if you fire into the vehicle. It's not. It's
and that could cause more damage to citizens if the vehicle veered off.
What is this woman doing, holding a baby in the air in the front seat of a car that's trying to peel off from a crime scene?
Who cares? What are you doing shooting in a car with a kid?
Exactly.
Agreed. There's enough wrong to go around here.
No, there's more wrong at the guy who's actually trying to kill people and shooting at a baby, as opposed to the idiot who's holding the baby trying to run away. That's a huge difference.
Joe, hold up. We cannot assume that this officer woke up this morning to do that. We all think that is possible. We think it. But once you start assuming and it comes back and lashes you that isn't what happened,
it always
make an ass out of you, okay?
No. I'm an adult. I know.
Hold on. The reason I'm saying that is because you're saying that the officer intended to shoot, no matter what.
Okay? I'm saying there's a 90+% chance that he just tried to murder that person. Yeah.
Now, listen, I agree with a couple factors on both, which he has a great point on it. When you shoot into a car, you cause more damage. We're all in agreement on that. Something else could happen. The vehicle could veer off. The vehicle could run you over, being the officer. The vehicle can run over citizens that are bystanders. Okay, that's one. We all agree that the officer shouldn't have shot into the vehicle with the baby in the car. Everybody agrees to that so far. What's in disagreement is whether the officer had justified means to say he was at risk. And this is me personally.
Is there video or something? That's the only way you can answer that.
They haven't released that yet. So the only thing I've seen is the picture of the vehicle with the bullet holes in it, and all the bullet holes are on the passenger side of the vehicle. This is why I'm going into this.
I thank you for that. Have you ever seen a cop trying to shoot someone who was trying to run them over? Ever?
There was an incident a couple months ago where they justified the officer for the lady aiming at him in the situation where she was trying to get away. Yes.
Well, we know you're talking about the good shooting. I wasn't asking you whether it was justified or not. They'll always be justified. Did you see a shooting where the person, like in the Renee Good shit, we can see that she turned the tire away from him. If you want to look at it yourself, she turned the tire away, then gassed it. But have you seen it where, like you see in the movies, where a person's definitely going after that cop, they don't veer away, they don't turn, and the cop kills them? Is that ever the case?
With my eyes, in my physical realm around me, within like 50 to 100 feet, no, I've never personally seen that with my own eyes.
Case here in New Mexico, Joe. There's a case here in New Mexico. There was a couple of sitting outside getting high in the PJs, and they'd already been on the PJs, especially that particular area because it's known for drugs in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Right. And she started to drive away, and he claims he hit her with the door because the door was open. And then there was video evidence that showed she didn't. And he fired into the car from the side, killing her.
I saw that. That was just evil.
He is now being charged. He's been
white lady. I saw that.
For it.
And
very good.
I don't think now. Here's the thing: I don't think the cop, under any circumstances, should have fired into the car, whether the baby was there or not. You don't
Yeah,
fire into a moving
shoplifting. Why are you
vehicle.
trying to
It's just
kill people?
stupid.
Yeah.
However, I have an issue with the fact that these people are committing a crime with the baby with them. She's
Facts.
holding the baby in the front seat of a car,
Facts.
holding it up with guns pointed at her, trying to say, "There's a baby in here." And instead of just stopping, they, from what I saw, they were not caring who they hit to get out of there. Now, as far as the shots fired, that's all on the cop. He was in the wrong. He needs to face consequences for that.
No. Let's
That
go
mother
back to
has
the
to
girl.
live with the fact. The mother has to live with the fact for the rest of her life that she took her baby into a situation like that.
No, I don't think she
And now
does.
he's gone. I do.
Nah, I don't know. The murder can't be a fucking accountable for crazy psycho lunatics that try and murder you because you steal shit. So she ain't got to carry that burden. You know, I hope she just
So,
carried a week
so
or
you don't
so.
believe that if 4 people go in to commit a robbery and only one of them kills the clerk, that the other 3 are just as culpable?
No, God, no.
Okay.
That's just outright evil. I mean, here in Illinois, if you're the getaway driver, they charge you with murder. Fact is, you didn't murder
Facts.
anyone. I don't give a fuck who wrote what down and what fiction they try to get you to believe. Is you didn't murder them. You were in the car, but you get charged with it. No, I don't believe that's a real thing. And they can't make me believe that shit. And
I mean, no,
also, under
we
no
don't want to
circumstance,
believe
if
that's a
someone
real
does
thing, but it is a
shoplifting,
real thing.
should you be jumping in front of cars and trying to kill motherfuckers for shoplifting ever? If there's a baby in the car, you get that plate, you let them the fuck go. You don't even chase them.
And
That's
we
the
said
safe
that.
thing.
We said that. We discussed that earlier. And some people thought that no, letting her leave the scene and not chasing her would cause just as much damage as getting in the car and full lights on, chasing them through all the streets.
Because
We
she might
discussed that
rob another
earlier,
Walmart.
saying,
What's the worst that can happen if you let her go? She might shoplift again. Why would you
not only
chase
that,
someone
no,
through the
hold up.
streets who's only a shoplifter?
She could actually be followed because of the tags on this vehicle. They could actually
Yeah,
find her in
just
many
get the
different ways.
tag and let her go.
What if
Hold
so
up, Walmart.
she's driving erratically, right? So what if
Hold
she
up.
goes out driving erratically from the scene because she's scared, crashes into somebody there and getting out of the Walmart parking lot. The baby's
It's
dead
just
and
silly.
somebody
What if
else's baby is
what
Let me
if
dead.
they
add,
get hit
let me
by
add
a
another factor. Hold on,
meteor?
guys.
I mean,
Hold
you
on.
want to do the what
Let
if
me add
shit.
this one more factor that would probably make a little bit more sense in why this shouldn't have happened. Walmart has a policy right now that a lot of people don't know about. Walmart allows you to steal in their store.
Yeah,
Unknowns to
if you
you,
build up the
they
amount.
write it down. They add it up until a certain amount, and then the next time you come in the store and you pass that amount, they
Fuck
have the
it.
officers ready and waiting
Target
before you
does
go
that.
to
A
leave.
bunch of stores do that. Yeah.
So,
They do that
well,
because prosecutors need it to be a level of grand larceny to
It's
make
got to
it
be a
worth
felony. They don't want
prosecuting.
it once.
Yeah.
And here, I think it's
exactly. So,
$550 here, but it
the way this
varies.
was the way this was conducted in multiple fashions, I think, broke a lot of procedures and a lot of things because I don't believe personally from the way the angle of the bullets and stuff that I saw into the vehicle, I don't believe the officer was in danger.
I mean, I haven't seen, and it doesn't seem like y'all have seen
Let me see
enough.
if I can pull up the pictures of
All
the because
right,
I saw it
right on.
I
somewhere
think that's
today.
irrelevant, though. I think that's irrelevant. Whether he was in danger or not, he had no right to shoot into that, no
Hey,
cause
Now,
Einstein,
to shoot into a
do you
moving
know what
vehicle,
do you know
regardless
what
of
the
age.
laws are? Like with police officers shooting at other vehicles if it's a high like public area where there's other people around. I mean, because it's a Walmart. Pretty sure there was plenty of people
No, I
around.
don't know
they
the
can
laws about that.
police can pretty much get away with killing anybody at any time. They just
Any
say they
time and
felt they
point.
were in danger. Nikki, I don't know if you're just playing the foil here or you really believe when you say stuff like, what if, and they were driving off and hit a banana peel because they were nervous and someone could have
Yeah.
died. You
No,
sound like the
What I'm
Hey, now,
police
saying,
when they
what I'm
steal your
saying,
rights.
Joe,
I've seen a
was
lot of people shoplift, and we've seen videos. I've seen in my life because
you
a lot of
asked,
people. Hold on, I
you
wasn't done.
asked what
I
are the
got
repercussions if you let
and
her go?
and
That's
I've
what you
seen
asked.
And I've seen people drive off getting chased from Walmart or whatever the fuck, and I've never seen them actually run over and kill a motherfucker, whatever you said. So it is a possibility, but it's so tiny. I don't know why you would bring it up.
You specifically away.
I think you broke up if you said something specifically.
You asked what's the danger of letting her get away, and I said in this cop's mind possibly it's that she's driving erratic, she's crazy, she might kill someone. However, I still don't think, even if he felt he was in danger, even if he felt she may have been a public danger, I do not ever approve of the idea of shooting
Well,
into a
you didn't
moving
answer
vehicle.
my question then. If you say I asked you what is the danger of her driving away, and your answer is, well, in the cop's mind, that is not what I'm asking you. I'm talking about in real life. What is the dangers of letting her drive away?
In real life, in real life, the danger of letting her drive away, if we're taking shooting off the table, because that's wrong. We all agree that should have never happened. The danger of letting her drive away is she's holding an infant in the front seat of a car, driving erratically, and not acting in the best interest of that child. We were talking about child neglect. We were talking about child neglect on the panel, and that's exactly what I'm talking about here, is her neglectful behavior in caring for that child.
Holding your kid in the front seat?
I'm in agreement with that.
No, I have not.
I've done it 1,000 times.
Oh, I have not.
You don't take your child to a crime that you're trying to commit.
Exactly.
That's a given as well, right? Yes.
Literally said that her friend was being stopped. She kept on walking because she wasn't involved in none of that. Then she says in the little interview that she did that she put her child in the air so she could show the cops that there was a child in there. My thing, if this girl would have never got in that car with her friend and kept her child out of there, she wouldn't be in this situation. Another thing is, we're talking about negligence because she had a child in her lap. A lot of people do that. Not saying that it's correct.
Times.
Not saying
it's illegal and negligent.
I know.
No, I disagree. It wasn't negligence for all those years until someone came up with the law fucking 30 years ago. It was a thing. Niggas didn't even have to have seat belts. Now you want to say you're evil or fucking unreal because you don't wear a seat belt. You're negligent. Niggas
Nobody
did
said
that
you're
forever.
evil or unreal. It is child neglect.
Yeah, it's not negligent not to wear a seatbelt. People did it fucking all of my life before the law came. How is that negligent?
The era where I used to be able to ride in the backseat of a car with no seatbelt. My parents would not get in trouble. My parents would not get negligent charges on them because I was in the back seat. So I kind of agree with Joe Cole. There was a time and point where that changed because somebody wanted
that was a time when the city streets were 35 miles per hour and the freeway was 55 miles per hour. The freeway isn't even 75 anymore, it's 95.
No, not around
55.
And city streets, most city streets, the speed limit is either 45 or 50 miles an hour.
Ours is 30. The expressway is 55, and we still got them shitty laws where, if you wear a seatbelt, we can rock a crack tail light. And Nikki, you will be the one who carries the torch and say, well, they had a cracked tail light. Someone could have died. You're that person, yo. Which is how they rob you. They say, man, it's so important that tail light, it could have been a short, or someone couldn't see you at 60 feet and someone could have ran the street and died. And you sell that nonsense that they sell you just so they can rob people.
And I'm with you partially on what you say, Witchy, and I'm also with Joe Cool on both of you because both of you guys are making great points as far as what it is. The lady, it was negligent for having her child in the situation that she put the child in. Facts number one. Negligence right there. I think the officer is also negligence for firing into a moving vehicle that is abruptly not making a danger to society or him. If he was able to move out of the vehicle's way, he's not in danger. that's where I fall and see the difference as far as whether he had the right to shoot or rather he didn't.
Why would you have a you're talking about right, you're talking what's legal. And I'm telling you pretty much you can shoot a motherfucker from the guy who arrested me. Well, he didn't arrest me, he gave me tickets in Texas. I found video of him and his partner shooting two guys who stole a car. Looked like they were teenagers or maybe out of their teens, and shot them in the back of the head and the back of the neck. And they got off with the shit. You can get off with pretty much. And not only that, they promoted him to chief. He was the chief when he pulled me over.
Well, that's why we came up with the system of trying to figure out why there is no list for these people, these bad officers, these things going on, you know, with these corrupt systems. I guess to say we're never going to have a system in the judicial or policing system that's going to be a good enough or legit one that holds honest police officers. And we can all say that's true. It's never going to happen. But I think if we were able to put officers who commit these heinous crimes, like you're talking about, Joe Cool, the ones even who commit the smaller crimes, like planting dope on a suspect, I think these officers should not be on the force.
Well, that's a given.
Joe, let me throw a hypothetical at you since you like to throw them at me so much.
Yeah, I do.
So here's my hypothetical for you. You're in your home sleeping at night. You got your old lady and her two kids. Everybody's sleeping good. Somebody busts into the house trying to rob you guys.
Kill him.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask no questions.
What happens if he's got a baby strapped to his chest on one of those baby carriers?
I'd never know because I'm gonna shoot that motherfucker immediately. I'd never know his circumstance. I wouldn't know what race he is.
And all he's there to do is rob, but you're gonna kill him for stealing.
But you're putting him in. No, this is a different scenario. You're putting home protection versus citizens and city life. That's two different
you're talking
scenarios.
about people who were robbing. They were stealing.
No, hold up.
Well, you'd have to slow it down a little bit.
In a public store, not
to make it a proper analogy. In my crib, that threat is ever present because you put my kids there, that my kids are going to die. I could never be sure he's going to steal a vase, a wallet, and leave. But out there, you can be sure of you know, the stealing shit out there on the street. Here, because he kicked in my door, I'm going to assume the worst.
Yeah. So there's a difference in that analogy.
And there's not children.
But it definitely is a difference. Like I said, you cannot put a home situation into a public situation and it be the same.
Yeah, if a guy was robbing my car and I walk up on him and I see him stealing my car, I got a pistol or something, do I shoot? And he got a baby attached to his chest or whatever. No, he gets away with my shit. He gets to leave.
Yep. But coming into my home, you have invaded too much of my bubble space. I'm laying out you Swiss cheese through the door, at the door. That's how it goes.
Do you, Nikki? I think it's insane and criminal to have a policy where people shoplift. Remember, I'm from the street, so a lot of people think that's a legit hustle. I've never respected it, but everybody has a hustle in the street. And someone be like, "Man, I'm a cannon." You know, that just means I shoplift from state to state and boost and shit.
Let me ask you this.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Do you think that stealing a pair of diapers versus stealing $100 million, there's any difference in the punishment of the crime?
I think
it's still a crime, right?
Yes, there must be, and there should be. Yes, the guy who steals the diaper in this world gets more crime. The guy who steals 100 million in crypto gets a pardon by Trump or doesn't even go to jail.
This way with you to add to the scenario, the one who steals the diaper actually runs what the police call the situation. The 100 millionaire sits right there and waits for the police to come get him. What's the difference on that? I mean, why is it the same? Should I say, not different?
Why is the diaper guy? Why they not chasing down the 100 millionaire or something? I don't know. Maybe I don't understand.
I can answer that, Mexican. So here's the difference. The guy who stole the diapers, he's in survival mode. a couple of nights even in jail could lose what little job he has. He's already having to fucking steal diapers.
Yeah.
He can't miss his hustle for 2 days to sit up in jail and come up with the bail. On the other hand, the billionaire knows that no matter what he did, he's going to go down. He might spend a couple nights in jail. That's not
No
going to cost him
chance.
much.
He won't even spend a couple nights.
He might. I said
Zero.
might. But
Which
even
would
if
make
he,
good a point
let
to
me
what I'm
finish.
saying.
Wait. Let him finish.
He knows that in the long run, it's not really going to affect him, even if he does spend a couple nights in jail, because his business is settled. Other people do the work for him. He doesn't work for his living. So he's fine to go and, deal with the administrative part of it and then
let's
deal
be
with
honest,
court
he's got
later
enough
because
money,
he can
he gonna
afford
pay
a
the-
good lawyer.
He gonna pay the lawyers to deal with all of that shit until he had to go there. The only time he
Now,
had to
with
go.
that
Otherwise,
said,
And that's why he's going to turn himself in, whereas the other guy's going to run, because the punishment for him isn't whether he ever gets convicted, because even when they get over $500, half the time those things are dropped or pled out to mild probation and bullshit.
So next question.
Those people can't afford even the probation because that fucking costs money.
right?
But if the millionaire decides to get in the car and just leave the house as the police are trying to approach him, do the police now have the opportunity or option to be able to shoot them and in that millionaire's life?
I mean, they didn't shoot OJ. How long did he fucking go on a low speed chase?
Good point. And your other point was a good point too, Nikki. That the one guy is in survival mode, and the other guy is.
And that's the thing about these women too, is they were in survival mode. Like, I am not saying that these women have the major responsibility in what went wrong here. I'm saying they have some. You just don't bring the fucking kid to that shit. You don't. That's parental neglect. I don't care how you look at it.
We agree.
You don't take your kid into that danger. That's what I'm saying.
I agree, but
however, the fact that the baby got shot is all on that cop. He should have never fired into the vehicle.
I would never compare the person who's shoplifting and bringing their kid to anything that followed of the police action, because in real life, shoplifting apparently is really crazy, rampant. And I'm sure the people do it every day, and they're assuming in their fucking skulls that their getaway that is not really, this is what they rationalize, it's not real danger to the kid. I do this shit all the time. I'm not even going to get caught. Okay, there is their sin. But for the police to cut them off, you got a kid now, and you're danger, and you up in probabilities and shit. Get a license plate and play it calm. Wait till the kid's put down. Catch later.
Yeah, no, the cop was absolutely wrong in this. I don't even understand before they got into the vehicle and sped away from what I knew of what was going on. Just the foot chase even wasn't necessary. They had them on video. They knew who they were. They were identifiable. There was absolutely no reason even for the foot chase, being that there was a child involved. What if she had tripped and fell carrying that baby?
That's my problem with police. I understand, and you probably understanding that about this point. That's my problem with police. Even the existing policies that they have, even if they follow them perfectly, they'd all be horrible people, because they agree to do things like electrocute a 80-year-old because she don't sign a ticket, snatch her out the car, put chains on her. You agree to do evil shit, no matter who you are as a cop, just by signing up.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I knew one good cop, Joe. I did. I really thought I knew one good cop. I grew up with him.
You say I thought.
Let me finish. I grew up with him. He was someone I'd known most of my life. His sister was a very close friend of mine. And then recently, I don't know, I'm sure you heard about the DUI scandal here in New Mexico, where a bunch of cops were giving people false DUIs and handing them over to this lawyer and this judge, and everybody was getting kickbacks for them to buy their way out of DUIs they never should have even gotten. Well, it turns out
these are not people of means who they were doing this shit to either. It's horrible.
Right. And it turns out that one of the main players in it is the guy I thought was a good cop taking drunk people off the road.
Oh, it's so horrible that, they turned out to be your guy, man. I feel bad. I don't like cops and shit, but I feel bad for you.
It made it clear to me that even people I know to be and think of as good people are easily corruptible in these positions, because it's not that even that he started this, he fell into it, and once you're in it, there's just no way.
Yes, there is, because this is how you pay your fucking bills. I got a buddy who did it too. He's famous because he was part of what we here call the Austin Seven. He was 6 months in. They had already moved him to the tactical unit, which are the people who hunt dope. 6 months in, he's testifying against the tactical team because they've been robbing drug dealers, and they escort them through the city so no other cop can pull them over. And you know, they pay them X amount of 10 grand or something to make sure that shipment doesn't get busted. They'll actually escort them around town and shit. And he told on him, and he had every dime. His name was his nickname here was Peanut. That's not his real name. That's what we all called him. And he kept every dime. When they came for the bread, he gave it to him. He felt so guilty. He had never spent the bread, man. And he told the story.
Silver. Hello, Silver.
Hey, Silver. And he told the story how when he tried to say no, they was offering him like 5 grand. They had stole some bread. And he was like, no, man, I don't want to do it. I just want to do it regular. He was like, don't worry about it here. But just hold this. And then just took 3 grand off and gave him 2 grand. And we'll talk about it later. They kept giving him money every time they did that dumb shit, man.
That's the thing. That's the thing, is that when you get into what's already going on, you have a couple choices. This is the career you've chosen. You either stick with it and keep your mouth shut and possibly incriminate yourself and get involved, because if not, then they worry you're the snitch, or you move on to a different career. And I don't mean this to like demean the police in general, because I don't think that everybody goes into it wanting to be corrupt. However, I think that the entire system, even bigger than the police, the entire system, the way that it's set up, there's no option but to be corrupt anymore.
We agree.
And so I agree with you that that policing as it stands today is a disgrace. However, we disagree on whether or not policing needs to exist, I think.
No, I think it needs to. I don't know if you think it needs to. And the way it's, I think it needs to as well. It's logical. And the way it's set up is you can tell who the really bad guys are because they get promoted. The guy who writes the most tickets is the one doing the most shady shit. But the guy who writes the most tickets gets promoted. The guy who finds the most drugs is probably planning them, abusing the people to find them. He'll get promoted. And here, there's a guy, John Burge is his name, Jon, not John. He tortured people and did crazy stuff, and they were all promoted. And statute of limitations had expired and all of that bullshit before it came to light, and they went to jail for whatever tiny crimes they could find to charge them on. It was crazy. They said that they were bragging that if you take a paper bag out of the garbage, a plastic bag, I don't give a fuck how tough they are, what kind of beating they are. And they were draining batteries. They had spare batteries in the back of the cars because they were electrocuting so many people. They would drain the batteries, putting it on their nuts and their chests and stuff. They brag that I don't care how tough they are, they only can do the plastic bag once, meaning they suffocate them. And when they pass out and thinking they're going to die, they take it off and the guy comes back. When he see that paper bag coming back toward his head, he'll confess to anything. These are the fucking people who are all promoted. Just look for the promotions. They'll be the most corrupt.
Well, it's not just that. In addition to that, you're also going to see, and this is where I say it's the whole system, is you're going to see the politicians are going to glorify these people. Yeah. It's not just about promotions. Like they're put on pedestals, and they're not just allowed to do this. They're encouraged in the positive feedback that they get.
Yes, and if you get caught doing it, we'll look the other way. We got your back to blue, thin line. He's had a hard day. He retired.
Here's the one that gets me,
another police station. That shit.
Here's the one that gets me. My mister is a truck driver, and he's been driving a tow truck for about a year now. And the thing that gets me is when they say it's a dangerous job. My mister's job is 11 times more dangerous
Yeah.
than a police officer as
It's
far as
stupid.
fatalities in the line of duty.
Yeah. I
And
mean, everything.
Yeah, I gotta give
yeah.
you, tow truck drivers have one of the hardest, toughest situations because they have no protection when they go out there. They don't have
Yeah.
the color of law to help them
Yeah.
out
And they
until the
taking
color of law is
people's
called out.
cars. Yeah.
well, he doesn't work in repo, thank goodness. He works,
Yeah.
but he's on the side of the road where people don't pull over into the next lane and stay doing 75 and
that's another
one
statistic.
little twist of the wrist and
That's what kills most cops. That's what, when people be like, 100 cops died in line of duty, 60 of them would have been traffic fucking fatalities because they were out there robbing someone late night on the side of the road, and what Nikki
actually,
said, flick of the wrist.
The largest mode in officer deaths is heart failure.
I bet you it's road. I mean, you just,
No, I looked it up. We had a conversation about this a while back, Joe, and I went and looked it up. And the highest level, the highest number of deaths on duty for police officers is heart failure.
I thought I looked it up too, so I'm looking it up.
I believe that could be a leading cause of it because they don't eat healthy. A lot of police officers are obese. I mean, I could see that. I could see that as a probable cause why they are falling out. They can't run.
Can't see it more than accidents, though. This doesn't strike me as logical. Causes of deaths, law enforcement. Oh my goodness, y'all really gonna write it this tiny? Okay, cause of death, accidental crash. Wait a minute. These are just numbers. It doesn't tell me. Crash is 28. Yeah, these look like they're in order. Accidental crash is the highest every year. 2016, 17, 18, every year. Let me see if it's heart disease is not here. Boating crush, electrocuted, fire, horse. Is it COVID-19, poison, stab, trip by train? Yeah, law enforcement deaths, causes. Yeah, these are all the ways they died. Job-related illness, 50. Shot, 67. Well, that's higher than fucking the crash. Struck by vehicle, 16. Struck by train.
Says here 35 out of 147 were medical events, fatal medical events.
That could have been a
car accident, right?
Yeah, it could have been a car accident.
No, they have automobile crashes were 25.
That's crashes they involved in, or like
46 traffic related deaths out of 107 or 147 total.
Well, here's one: heart attacks, tops 5 causes of police officer death. The statistics
35 were fatal medical events, so it's not the top, but it's up there.
It's up there. It's up there.
Cardiac arrest.
Top is firearms.
Sudden cardiac arrest accounts for 10% of all in-line duty. Ain't that a bitch?
I'm telling you, heart attack is a big one for them.
Wow, I got to think what my man said. Is it just that they eat horribly? What's up, Ray?
I mean, look at them. A lot of your police officers that are not in this, well, a lot of them even on the streets are overweight. I mean, I've seen big officers try to chase people and they can't even go but 20 yards and then they're done.
Yeah, most of them are pretty big here too.
Wasn't there one that a suspect was charged, I think last year, was charged in the death of an officer because the officer had a heart attack?
Probably. You made his fat ass work.
I'm telling you.
I know that there was a case where a cop got off on shooting a guy in the back because he couldn't run fast enough to catch him.
What?
I don't doubt it, man.
Wow.
I tell you, I tricked my buddy Nikki. She's from Texas. I talked about shooting people in Texas, and she like, yeah, say, what if a cop shot a guy who had a gun? And you're like, no, you can have a gun. This Texas, blah blah blah. And after a while, I gave it a few weeks, and then I showed her a vid about a guy in Chicago. He's running down some stairs. He was getting distance. He was getting away from that cop. He did have a gun. I forget whether he had it in his hand or in his back. He certainly had a gun. And when he got to the bottom of the stairs, looked like the cop wouldn't go be able to catch him, shot him in the back. And she was like, yeah, well, he had a gun. He should have shot him. I said, now you notice the mentality. You think in Texas, it's crazy to think that you shoot a person merely for having a gun. In Chicago, you believe that if it's shot in the back, it's still okay. What makes you think that way?
I don't think that way. I don't get it.
I was talking to her. I mean, in my head, I was just still talking to her.
No,
I
because I definitely don't get the idea of shooting anyone in the back. Like, even if like it's a home defense situation and someone comes and they're fleeing, like this recently happened here in Albuquerque. This lady was being attacked outside of a home and the guy came out and defended her and the guys were running away and he fired shots and shot both of them in the back. Nobody died.
Right.
But
the little black boy that was doing
I can give you a scenario better than that. I do believe it was here in Florida that a lady was sitting at home and a gentleman was breaking into her house. She shot this idiot while hanging in the window. Cops came, arrested him. He gets out of jail and then sues the lady for shooting him.
I doubt he got away with that one unless there's more to it.
Oh, he won the case. He won the case on the
Well, then there'll be more to it than
her homeowner's insurance was the one he would sue and not her, and just settle because it's cheaper than going to court.
Perhaps something like that.
He won that case against her on that, but he lost his criminal case. I don't know how they did it.
Well, it's probably what Nikki's talking about that.
But
in general, those things, it would be the homeowner's insurance that covers injury on your property, and the homeowner's insurance will just settle to avoid any of it in that sort
because
of situation.
they could have taken, especially if she won in court, you could take it and fight the suit and all of that bullshit. But if you're a big business and it's cheaper to give a motherfucker a couple grand rather than start this long, it take lawyers months of work to do, and no, give them the bread.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give it a few more minutes and I'm going to get ready. I still haven't had a shower for the day.
All right. Stand at 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, I'll be putting my pajamas on. So, yeah.
I think Den already went to sleep on us.
Yeah, I think he did.
Mm-hmm.
He heard his name.
Den hears his name and he pops up. He's like, what?
Like a dog. Chicken?
Hey, Silver. Hey, Mike.
Want to go out?
But I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's been a great show today. I definitely went over the hours I wanted to. I was only on it for a few. You guys have made a great, interesting topics today. It was a fantastic stream. There was hardly any cussing, any things going on, which I think this one's going to be a really good content for me to gain a little bit popularity. If you guys can, that's all I ask. Just come subscribe, see what the channel's about, and spread it to your friends. I think the way this is going, you guys did a great job today on the panel. I want to thank you guys all. So I will start off with Witchy and let Ms. Witchy go on ahead and give her a shout out. I will go to Joe Cool, and then Dennison next, being the last one. Chat, you guys were amazing, great people. Always, as I always say, the chats are the gods and the goddesses of all panels and streams. They sometimes and most of the times make it interesting. Let's start off with Witchy. Go on ahead and do your little shout out if you want, and go from there.
It was fun.
You're up. Good.
I just said thanks for having me up. It was fun.
Thank you, ma'am. You have a blessed one. Joe Cool, thank you, sir. You stopped by, appreciate it. And Dennison, as always, buddy, I give you the floor last because you're always up here the longest. Here you are, brother.
Hey, thanks, man, for having me up again and for providing a platform for these conversations. I mean, you just keep hitting this shit out of the park. Some of the best streams that have been on since you started have been right here on your platform. And thanks to everyone who came out to my chat. Oh, shout out to John Straez. What's up, brother? He's a great panelist too. I don't know if you met him yet,
Yep, I have.
but I want to just see if I can briefly call out to the homies that I see. Fatima, Silver Diamond, Michael Gambetti, Brandon, Casper, John, Defend, RLM, Becca, Abby, Witchy Bitchy, of course. Who else we got? And Ricardo. Hey, Ricardo, what's up, man? Good to see you again. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. This is my new pal's channel. He goes by Mexican Einstein, and the links are in the description of the video. Please check him out, sub up to him, and remember to hit those dono links because we all got bills, and every little bit helps. The money is not only an incentive to put up with the problems that we have to deal with streaming, but also to pay for StreamYard and pay for equipment. And it's an expensive hobby, and obviously y'all like what we do, otherwise you wouldn't be here spending your Thursday afternoon watching us talk about shit on the internet, and we appreciate it. Again, thanks to the host and thanks to the panelists. I had a blast, and I'm looking forward to our next time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dennison. Everybody, like I said, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's been a great day. Amazing. Appreciate it all. Yeah, I have decided recently that I will be posting a GoFundMe for particularly what the things that Dennison just said. I am in a very starting position. Anything that is donated to my Cash App or anything like that is a great help. It does help me be able to advance some of the things I'm doing. I love AI art. I love animations. I love things that make people happy. So yeah, thank y'all for everybody showing up. And we're going to end the stream, y'all, with my favorite song. And it's called Sin Miedo. Sin Miedo means without being scared or without worries. And the object of the song is that trust costs more than money. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
First in life taught little Joe, trust costs more than money. Yeah. Young heart, sharp mind, still moving hungry. Late nights, cheap food, talking like we touch money. Everybody had a story, everybody had pain. Everybody wore a smile, but not everybody the same. One from the island said, rude boy, keep pushing. One from the block said, pressure make diamonds, keep cooking. One stayed talking business, one was living check to check. Lil' Joe saw familiar in the hands around his neck. Backs on the wall, all of us talking big, saying when one man need, then the whole damn crew live, laughing through the hard times, building through rain. Never knew fake smiles and envy wore the same face. Trust costs more than money, learned that the hard way. Everybody else familiar till the storm hit dark days. Traición cut deeper when the love look real. Sin miedo now, but I still remember how it feels. Should've peeped the silence every time I hit the room. Same one, silent love, started singing different tunes. Heard my name in whispers, felt the whole vibe shift. Funny how the handshake changed when the plans got big. One said, I gotta move, one said, trust me, we good. Same one grinning in my face, moving weird in the hood. Otra cara, same snake, just a different disguise. Lil' Joe learn real quick, envy left behind eyes. Started catching little cracks in the words they would say. Got stashed stood beside me, slowly drifted away. Money make the weak talk, pressure make them expose. Truth don't kick the front door, nah, truth move slow. Trust costs more than money, learned that the hard way. Everybody familia till the stormy dark days. Traición cut deeper when the love look real. Sin miedo now, but I still remember how it feels. Said pull up, little bro, got a plate, let's lock it in. Same one I broke bread with, let the whole problem in. Walking with my trust first, never check the air. Crazy how the ones you call your people leave you standing there. Phones went ghost, cold looks, whole energy switch. Truth hit harder than a fist when the whole thing flipped. Money got weird, plans changed, names got tossed. Lil' Joe learned loyalty got a heavyweight cost. Wasn't just a setup, nah, it was who stay still. Watch the walls close in, they say nothing dead chill. That's the kind of lesson turn a warm heart steel. Sin miedo now, but I still remember how it feels. Ain't every hand that shake yours, really wishing you well. Some people love the version of you, easier to sell. Traición teach different cuts deeper than the rest. Lil' Joe stop handing out his heart like a free invest. Now Lil' Joe move quieter, don't speak on every plan. Then loyalty ain't talk, this will stay when shit get jammed. Circle got smaller, but the real ones move close. Let's fake love in the air, less hands reaching for ghosts. Ain't no hate in my blood, just awareness in my sight. I don't fear what I've seen, I just read the signs right. Sin miedo chin up, but selected where I stand. You can smile, dap me up, that don't mean you in the fam. Still got love for the solid, yeah, the ones that stay true. Some show colors under pressure when the hard times grew. Lil' Joe ain't lose his heart, nah, just change how you deal. Trust costs more than money. No measure what is real. First thing like taught Lil' Joe. Trust costs more